The following podcast may contain adult language and an abundance of salt. Your mission, should you choose to accept it, is to listen to this podcast in its entirety and tell us what the secret word at the end of it is. Report back on our Discord app at saltynerddiscord.com. This message will self-destruct in 5 seconds. Dun, 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 dun. Welcome, everybody, and thank you for joining us on this episode of the Salty Nerd Podcast, weekly edition, episode 123. Today, we are talking about Mission Impossible movies, and I am joined, as always, by my fantastic panel of nerds. Matt Vader is here. Welcome, sir.
Hey, bud.
What's up, dude?
Solving mysteries and stuff.
Scooby snacks?
Scooby snacks.
Fuck yeah, dude. Oh, I swore in the first 30 seconds. My bad. Also joining us is Jude. Welcome.
Hello.
Hi.
How are you doing?
Good. I was going to say, you would have gotten away with it too if it weren't for you pesky kids. But you caught me in the middle of my drink.
Of course I did.
As you do.
Every time. Also joining us, Matthew Caters. Welcome, sir.
So I had a lot of mixed emotions watching these movies. These movies are both glorious and terrible all at once. I have so much stuff to say about these movies. But one of the interesting things is like Jude and I usually watch the movies for the podcast together, but I was traveling this last week, and so I had to watch them on my own. And I had like literal like flashbacks to like my time watching these things in the theater, my time watching them during film school. And the various mixed emotions I had were definitely hard to deal with on my own, since I didn't have my emotional support redhead with me. But I'm looking forward to talking with them about you guys, or talking about them with you guys.
Emotional support redhead. I love that. That's my new title.
Can you get like one of those like vests that dogs wear for emotional support?
Yes, order me one, please.
Okay, cool. Right on. All right, guys, just a quick reminder. This episode is available everywhere where you get your podcasts. Head over to Spotify or Apple iTunes, or if you want to watch the full produced video, head over to the YouTube channel and help us get to that 5K mile marker. We might be there by the time this comes out. Hopefully we'll be, we're really, really freaking close. But yeah, that's it. All right, we're going to talk about Mission Impossible 1 right after this break. We'll be right back. Welcome back, everybody. The first movie on our list is Mission Impossible 1. Take it away, Jude.
All right. Hello. I'm going to tell you the synopsis of Mission Impossible in just a second. But first, I want to tell you how you can help support the show for free without spending any money. So first of all, wherever you're watching, just hit that thumbs up button. And if you are listening to the audio only version, give us a 5-star rating. Just scroll down, hit that 5th star, and that's it. It's a one-time thing. But if you have time for it and you feel like it and you're not driving, leave us a comment. We love comments. We always read them, and we might read yours on the show. And finally, if you have a few extra dollars a month and you want to share it with us, we'll take it. And also, thank you. So you can join the Patreon at either the $5 or $30 tier, and that will give you access to 4 exclusive episodes every single month that nobody else can watch except for you. And it'll allow you to do fun things with us, like the once-a-month trivia that we do with club members. And you can chat with us daily in the Discord app at saltynerddiscord.com. If you want to join the club members, you can join at saltynerdclub.com or directly through the Patreon app at Salty Nerd Podcast, and you can become a saltine. We love our saltines. And now, Mission Impossible.
Dun, 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 dun. Go, take it away.
Do-do-do. Do-do-do. Do-do-do.
Doo-doo.
Dun, 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 dun.
All right. 1996, Mission Impossible, rated PG-13 with a runtime of 1 hour, 50 minutes. This had a budget of $80 million. What do you think this brought into the box office, gentlemen? Starting with Alex.
152.
B?
I think this was a pretty big movie. And Tom Cruise, a lot of star power in this thing. You know, it had Emilio Estevez in it, for God's sake.
Emilio!
I think, what did you say?
152.
I did better than that.
Yeah?
I'm gonna say, I think it was like, didn't they have like McDonald's Happy Meal?
Go as big as you want, V.
260.
$457 million.
I knew this was a big movie.
Holy
big
shit.
Yeah.
I had no idea this was that popular.
Yeah.
Wow. I went back.
Tom Cruise was huge.
I went, it's on Paramount Plus. I went back and I watched a couple episodes from the original series in 1966 to kind of get like an idea of like what this source material was for this movie.
How did that hold up? Was it nostalgic?
I don't know. I've never seen it before. I was watching it for the first time. But the name Dimitri like means a lot.
Okay.
Which was weird because you hear that in the first movie, and then it comes back in the second movie, and you're like, this Dimitri character that everybody talks about That's from like the first season premiere episode of the show. Like Dimitri was a big character. So
Was this a book?
I don't know. Kadish, do you know what the backstory is for this?
Yeah, so it was basically, it started off as a TV show, and it was about this team of basically, secret agents who would pull off heists, essentially. So like every episode, it was like an impossible mission that these guys had to figure out how to do it. It had Martin Landau in it and, a bunch of other people. And for years, Paramount, who owned the rights to the TV show, they were trying to figure out how to turn it into like a movie franchise. And eventually Tom Cruise came along with Paula Wagner, who was his producing partner. And this is the first movie that Tom Cruise ever made as a producer as well as a star. So before this, Tom Cruise was strictly an actor, and this was kind of like his first foray into producing. And he had gotten this big production deal with his Cruise Wagner Productions over at Paramount. And he basically said like, okay, what can I turn into like a massive franchise? And Mission Impossible is just sitting there doing nothing. So he was like, I'm going to take this and I'm going to make this my flagship. And it's been like his baby ever since.
Yeah.
Good for him. It worked. I like almost every single one of these movies.
Here's the thing. I watched the first two back when they first came out. And for some reason, I kind of lost interest or something. Because like, I don't think I've seen any of the rest of them after the ones that we've watched today. So it'll be fun going forward.
Yeah, there's a lot of them now.
Well, there's like 7.
Yeah. Would you like to know what this one's about?
I sure would.
Yes.
Go ahead.
All right. So, somebody made a list matching all the undercover agents to their call signs. And if it gets into the wrong hands, it'll be the death of espionage. Too bad Jon Voight's in this movie because he's obviously about to get his whole team killed for the $10 million Max is willing to pay for the list. He gets poor Emilio Estevez squashed and impaled, stabs Kristen Scott Thomas, blows up Hannah, and makes his wife bone down on Tom Cruise before he shoots her. At least that's what I think happened. I kept falling asleep. So Tom Cruise hires the professional and Marcellus Wallace to help him get the list before anyone else can get the list. And no wonder he still looks 25. His face has been under latex cover as well as his name. And he's got to track down the killer, who's obviously Jon Voight, and keep the list out of the hands of those who want it. Discuss.
Yeah.
As soon as I saw Jon Voight, I was like, oh, he's the bad guy.
He's the bad guy.
Yeah,
100%.
100%.
So, all right. I have to admit something.
Break it down for us. Go ahead.
I fell asleep like 3 times watching
This movie's
Me
not
too.
fast paced.
I tried to watch it twice. I fell asleep both times.
I was like, I was watching this in my room, and I'm like, oh, shit. And then I'm fucking around on my phone. I was like, this movie, as popular as it was and as popular as it is, and it did not keep my interest.
It's real slow.
It was weird. I had Discord open on my phone, and I kept just getting distracted. And if I'm into a movie, if a movie's good, I can put my phone down and pay attention. I had a hard time doing that with this movie. I really did. And I don't really know why.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, so I don't know. That's kind of where I'm at with this one.
So Kadish was out of town this weekend, and you guys know I painted the house while he was gone. I was in the middle of painting while I was watching this, and I was asleep by the end of it. And then I tried to watch it again once he came home, and we both fell asleep.
I like this movie. I appreciate it, but you guys are spot on. It's a slow burn, and it does not keep your attention until like way into 3/4 in is when the action actually starts. Like the most famous scenes from this movie are not for like 40 minutes into it. Like the whole like suspended above the floor and the helicopter blowing up behind him and him getting thrown onto the train. Like that shit's like at the very end of this movie.
Did you know that he kept bonking his head on the floor while he was doing that suspension
I didn't. That's amazing.
He had to put shit in his shoes to balance him out.
Where did you learn that?
I forget. Probably IMDb, which is also bullshit.
He's got to wear like
It's probably
3-inch
made
lifts
up.
in his shoes anyway.
Yeah, so he can match up with everybody else.
He put coins in his shoes to balance himself out.
That's amazing. I did not know that. That's hilarious, though.
Tom Cruise is short.
Kadish, what did you think about this movie?
So I love this movie. I can remember seeing this movie 5 times in the theater. I was obsessed with it. Brian De Palma, the guy who directed this, is a very well-known filmmaker. He did one of my all-time favorite movies, which is The Untouchables. But he was also part of that counterculture kind of filmmaking group that kind of came up. He's got a very unique visual style to him. And when this movie came out, I had been obsessed with the trailer for it because the trailer had like this revamped Mission Impossible theme.
Oh, that song's epic.
Yeah, and the trailers for it were like, you know, like you see Tom Cruise like doing like the suspension thing in the CIA room, and the helicopter blows up and gets thrown onto the train and all this other stuff. So it was a very exciting trailer. And when I saw this movie, I was just like blown away by it. And you know, I went back and studied it in the theater, you know, like just rewatching it so many different times. And I have a lot of like very fond memories about this film, and rewatching it, you know, this week, it still holds up. It's not an action movie. No. So like one of the things I really respect about this movie is that it's a good thriller film. It's a good spy film. It's intellectual. You know, like you have to pay attention to what's going on. And it's the only movie in the franchise that doesn't have like Tom Cruise shooting a gun, you know? So like this was a very cerebral film, which is what I can appreciate about it. And then like the next film goes entirely like hardcore action. And
goes
then
full John Woo.
Yeah. And then the third one kind of balances like the two things. But this one was strictly, it was more kind of faithful to the TV show in the sense that like, you know, they're presented with all these like different challenges that they have to kind of like figure out a way to overcome. The start of the movie was very focused on the team. And originally, so like this movie went into production without a finished script. And the way that the script worked was Brian De Palma came up with all like the big set pieces, which is like Tom Cruise escaping from the restaurant, the CIA thing, you know, breaking into Langley, the bullet train at the end, stuff like that. And then two other writers came in, David Koepp being one of them, and they basically figured out like the plot, the dialogue, and everything in between. So the movie was kind of being made or written as it was being made. And this is the first movie where we see Tom Cruise do his famous run. This is the first movie where Tom Cruise started doing all of his stunts. He was very invested in its success because it was his first, you know, movie as a producer. And, you know, there are a lot of things in this that I really like, for instance, the casting of Emilio Estevez. So it was basically like Brian De Palma cast Emilio Estevez because he was kind of like hot at the time. He was coming off.
Was he Coach
Mighty
Bombay
Ducks.
by this time?
Yes,
Okay.
it was. So Mighty Ducks, Young Guns, and stuff like that. And they wanted to surprise the audience by having a recognizable actor that they kill off like very early on in the film. And originally they were going to have like the original cast of the TV show come in, play, like reprise their characters and get them all killed off. And all the original actors were like, no, fuck you. And Robert Graves, so like his character is played by Jon Voight, who was like the character from the TV show.
Right.
And he's played by a different actor. And what they tried to get Graves to come back and reprise the role. But once he found out that his character was the bad guy and the traitor, he was like, no, I'm not doing that. So like they cast Jon Voight because at the time, Jon Voight was like a guy that Brian De Palma was convinced no one would ever see as a bad guy. So, you know, there was just a lot of interesting stuff in this movie that I just absolutely love.
I love this movie too. I do agree with these guys. It is very slow. It's a slow burn. It is cerebral. It uses more of like a thinking man's action movie than your typical, like what we think of Mission Impossible today is like all action, explosions, gunfights, and cool stuff like that. This movie, I think it felt more like it was in line with what the TV show was in the 60s, because it was like they didn't have a lot of action. It was all like mystery and solving puzzles and stuff like that. But I enjoyed the heck out of this movie, and I think one of my they did Emilio real dirty. Like that.
They squashed him and impaled him in the face.
Yes. And it was like full on, like they didn't cut away from that or nothing. It was just like, he looks up and there's like this freaking giant spike coming down him, which, okay. So immediately when they were talking about like Jon Voight being the bad guy, like you kind of get that impression because as his team is dying, he's like suspiciously calm during the whole thing. He's like, Ethan, we just lost Jack. Jack is dead. Like, bro, you just watched him get impaled.
Yeah.
Like,
he had more reaction over him like toppling his chair over than about like all of his team dying.
Yeah, so immediately you're like real suspicious.
Yeah. Also, Jon Voight is a bad guy.
Is he?
100%.
In everything?
Across the
Always.
board. Yeah, always.
Is he always a bad guy?
Pretty sure.
I can't think of a movie that he's in. Anaconda? He's in Anaconda, right?
Yeah, he's the bad guy in that.
He's a bad guy in that.
Well, he was in Tomb Raider.
He was Laura Croft's dad in Tomb Raider. But that was more like a cameo.
He's a shitty dad.
He died. Screw him.
I've actually met John Voight. He's a nice guy.
That's good. I'm glad to hear it. I love it when I hear
that.
actors.
He makes
are
really
nice.
hot offspring. What? Dude, Angelina Jolie? Come on.
Yeah, we all know who you're talking about.
Yeah. Yeah.
His sperm does it for me.
Does it?
Makes hot babies.
Got good sperms.
God, the way you say
Getting weird.
Anyway, so yeah, this opening scene where Ethan's team gets all killed, it's very intense. You're like, oh shit, what's going on? But my favorite thing is that goddamn bubblegum. I fucking love that bubblegum, man. When Emilio's like, you mix the two, and he has a cat.
Just don't chew it.
No, he's like, "Hasta lasagna, don't get any on."
That's what he says. Yes, thank you. I knew he had a catchphrase. Ossia lasagna, don't get you any, whatever the hell it is. Don't get any on you. And it's like a red and green
red light,
bubblegum.
green
It's
light.
like Christmas gum.
Yeah, and he swishes it together and like
It's like cinnamon and spearmint.
yeah,
Ugh.
yeah.
Gross combination.
Yeah,
Disgusting
you don't
combination.
want to
This
mix.
sounds like something Jude would make us drink.
Yeah.
I'm gonna work on it. I'm gonna work on that shit.
You should make some red light, green lights.
Yeah, let's call it that. Red light, green
Oh,
light.
that would have been a great drink for
Be
today.
layered.
Red light, green light. Have it like all fucked up.
Do
Then
not
when you-
know how to
when
make
you-
layered drinks.
And then when you mix it, it gets all crazy.
Yeah.
You
that'd
know
be
what?
kinda-
We should have Joker come and be our pod bartender one day.
I'm down. He can be our Jamie Pod bartender. Anyway, I love that like gimmicky kind of weird tech in this movie is so freaking cool. I love that shit. When he throws it at the freaking fish tank and the fish tank explodes, and that scene I think is probably one of the best scenes in the show is when
There's
the fish tank opens
there's
up. And,
several iconic scenes in this movie. And the fish tank scene,
yeah,
the wire scene where they're breaking into the Pentagon or Langley or whatever that is,
Langley
and of course the
exploding bullet train thing.
the helicopter stuff at the end. Those always
Which
come out.
I'm sorry, I have to call bullshit on that
Yeah,
helicopter thing.
we'll get there. We'll get there.
Okay.
But yeah, it's just but that's the thing about this movie. It has iconic scenes, but the rest of the movie is kind of meh.
Well,
you know what I mean?
Because it's funny the way that it was planned. So Brian De Palma came up with all those iconic scenes, and those are the things that he was like, write the story around these scenes because this is what I want to
No,
do.
that's what
Yeah.
it feels
Yeah.
like. Yeah.
yeah.
Let's talk about the face-off technology.
I was gonna say yes, thank you, because that plays a huge part, and
Yeah.
especially
In
the second.
all of
these
that.
movies.
All of
in
it.
all the
Yeah.
movies.
But yeah,
That was a big part of the show.
Yeah.
yeah, too. Yeah, in the pilot episode of the show, and in the '66 version, they had like the prosthetics and all that stuff. This one was clearly like they just put Tom Cruise in prosthetics, and he played a completely different character,
Yeah, the senator.
the senator, and then they created the senator as a character so that he could just sub in
Yes.
and bounce back and forth, which is it's pretty obvious,
But it was very well done.
but it was very well done.
Yeah.
I am so glad that they updated the technology to the point where they can have other actors come in, and if it feels more organic and natural, it'd be like, okay, yeah, he's faking to be this other person.
Like we got to remember the time period in which this movie came out.
Yeah.
So this movie was actually released in '96, and so like Ving Rhames was just coming off of Pulp Fiction. Jean Reno was just coming off of The Professional. Like it was kind of interesting because this was very much a product of its time, and like what Jurassic Park came out like 2 years before this. And so like CGI was just starting to be adopted, and it was just, it's interesting to see like how well this movie turned out considering like how early on.
No, this movie holds up very well. It's the effects are great. It all still looks like they made it a year ago to me. But for some reason, it was the cool part, snore fest.
Yeah.
Cool part, snore. It was a very strange watch for me.
I remember-
I wasn't expecting that because I hadn't seen this movie for a very long time. Probably a decade since I
Yeah.
watched this movie, and I didn't remember it was almost like a first watch because it had been so long. So
Yeah.
I wasn't prepared to be bored for some reason. It was a very strange.
I was very surprised at my reaction to this because I remember when I saw it, which was probably in 96 when it came out, and I thought it was so cool. I was like, oh my God, that was so amazing. It was so cool. I feel cooler having watched it. I remember how I felt when I saw this movie. And then when I watched it this time, and I probably haven't watched it since then, but when I watched it this time, I was like, this is not as cool as I remember it being. But I actually really enjoyed the face-off technology. I like it more like this with the practical effect than I do it being CGI in the next couple of ones. I think it's that, I don't know, that gives it that camp factor for me that because you do
like campy stuff. Yeah, that makes sense.
When it's just complete CGI and it's just like the face of another person and then CGI this and now it's the face of another person, that's a little more bullshitty for me. It's less likely for me to believe it. But like seeing this old
grizzled senator.
This old senator. And I'm like,
with a southern accent.
Oh, like you guys are Tom Cruise. That's Tom Cruise.
Tom Cruise trying to pull off a southern accent was freaking adorable.
It's funny because it's been like decades since I've seen this movie again, but like rewatching it, like I just got such like nostalgic feels for it, and like it does hold up. Like it hasn't aged badly, like at all. In terms of like the fashion and like the clothing and like it takes place in Prague, so like
I was just gonna say if you don't want something to age, film it in Prague because Prague
hasn't aged,
doesn't age. It's timeless. So
like the only thing that kind of ages are like the computer screens where we see like was it Mozilla Netflix or not Netflix, Netscape browsers and stuff.
Or that
like
scene where Emilio's trying to like hack into something and the computer screen literally says hacking. It's just like, oh yeah, gotcha.
I want to talk about the elevators.
Okay.
Because Emilio is in charge of the elevators, but that doesn't give him control of the elevators.
That was weird.
What?
But here's what I think. I think John Voight was actually in control of the
He's
elevators.
Like, I'm just on doors.
Yeah. Well, so like Jack, I think is what Emilio's character's name is, Jack. And he's like, Jack, what's going on with your elevator? He's like, I don't know. I'm locked out. I think John Voight was the one who was locking him out.
Yeah, John Voight took control of the elevator.
And he was the one who sabotaged it and then killed Jack. And he just was like, I don't know what's going on.
So John Voight could have done that job the whole time, and Emilio Estevez was completely useless in this team.
Yeah.
Kick him while he's down.
Well, he needed to eliminate the team also in order to kind of cover his tracks for stealing the knock list. Like there is a lot of like cool spy stuff in this movie, and Tom Cruise, his character Ethan Hunt. So Mission Impossible has always been about the team.
Right.
And what they did with this movie, which was kind of clever, is they start off with the team and Tom Cruise was just part of an ensemble, and then they kill off everyone, and now it's just a Tom Cruise movie. And so like going forward, Ethan Hunt becomes like the main character of Mission Impossible. And it was kind of slick how they did it. But the Langley scene where they have to break into like the super secure CIA room, that holds up very well too. Like it doesn't age poorly at all.
No, it's a great scene. We can talk about it right now. If you
That's probably the most iconic scene from this movie, but also in cinema. Like, you when you think of Tom Cruise, you think of that scene where like he almost hits the floor.
And it's been like lampooned and
I bet you there's some people out there who don't even know where it originally came from, and they're just like, oh yeah, where he's suspended on the ground. He's like, yeah, that's Mission Impossible 1.
That scene is so tense though. Like when you're watching it, you're just like, oh man.
I gotta ask a question though, because during that scene, I was on the edge of my seat, as you would be watching that scene. You're like, oh shit, he's gonna touch the freaking floor sensitive, whatever the fuck. And I'm like, what's gonna happen? And then like freaking Jean Clouseau up there on the top fucking it's like decides he has to smash a rat. Like he lets go of the rope and like smushes the rat and then grabs the rope again. I'm like, bro,
he needed a backstory like in Suicide Squad.
I'm just like, leave the fucking rat alone.
The rat's over there nibbling on your ear, dude.
Like, I fucking hate the rats. I hate them so much.
The thing about Jean Reno's character is that like he's not a professional though. Like that's the whole point, is like he was like this thug that was brought in by the traitor of the show, and basically like he keeps doing these things that tips off the fact that like he's not like on the level, and Ethan Hunt picks up on these things, but he was trusting his former boss's wife, because she's the one who brought him in. And that eventually leads him to realize that she's in on it too. So,
Oh, that's a good
Oh,
point.
let's talk about her. She's so beautiful.
She's so sensual too.
Yeah.
Like, ooh.
Yeah. The first time I saw her was in the iconic 1980s movie Date with an Angel, and she literally plays an angel, and she is a fucking angel.
Emmanuelle Bert.
Bert. Yeah, I think she's a French actress.
Yeah, she's French.
Right on.
So is Jean Reno.
Okay, so one of my favorite scenes in this movie is not actually one of the iconic scenes. It's actually when Tom Cruise does his little magic trick with the CD, and he exposes Jean as being like a traitor, and he's like, "Now you see it? No, you don't." And he like freaking flashes the little CD, and he's holding, like, Jean's like holding
Also,
it.
it's a CD.
Yeah, it's a CD, right? Like a floppy disk shit.
It's like, what is that
the
thing?
fuck is that? But I just
How can I destroy the knock list?
Yeah, break it in half.
Break it in half.
Whoops.
Well,
I really enjoyed that scene because like Jean was like so confused as like he thought he had the upper hand. He's like, haha, I've got the knock list. Now you have to do this, blah, 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 whatever. And Cruz is like, yeah, you never seen this freaking magic trick like that. And he like pops the thing out. I just thought it was really cool. It was a really fun little reversal on like, you think one character has the upper hand, but it's really like Tom Cruise is already like 2 steps ahead of him.
Well, Tom Cruise already, for that scene, he basically got coached in how to do close-up magic in order to do that scene. Like that wasn't
Tom Cruise.
CGI.
Shit,
He was
dude,
actually doing that.
Of course he did, man. Like it's Tom Cruise.
Well, that's what I
Yeah.
like about Tom Cruise, is he wants to do everything himself.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm making a movie about flying F-15s. Well, I'm going to go learn how to fly an F-15.
Bro, I just watched a freaking promo for Top Gun Maverick where he's
he's flying at you.
They're like,
Maybe
all
we'll
right,
see that
Tom.
together.
They're like, all right, Tom, you're in charge. Here's your fucking $8 billion plane. He's like, oh, cool. We're pulling some fucking G's right now.
yeah, everybody get in.
Yeah.
Isn't he going to space?
Yes. The next Mission Impossible is taking place in space, and he's
He's like
filming
really
it up
in
there.
space.
He's going up there to save the Fast and Furious
They're,
guys.
they're filming it in the International Space
That's
Station,
wild.
dude.
Crazy.
Fucking crazy.
So that scene at the restaurant where like the fish tank blows up. Originally, they were going to do that with a stuntman, and when Brian De Palma was doing like the practicing, like the run-throughs, it was obvious that they weren't going to be able to do it without like showing the guy's face, and so he went to Tom Cruise and he was like, "Hey, I know this is super dangerous. I know you could die, but would you mind, attempting the stunt?" And Tom Cruise was like, "Yeah, okay." And the funny thing is like they could only do this in one take because
I was gonna say.
like once all the glass breaks and all the water falls out, like they can't like really rebuild it.
Yeah, that set's done for like a couple of days.
And so like the fish tank behind Tom Cruise, gets blown out. But the thing is like above him is like 100,000 gallons of water that, falls down behind him. And when you watch the scene where he's like, kind of like running and jumping like over like the body, like you can see like he almost wipes out in the scene because like, they only had one take and all this water is just like rushing at him. But like he nailed it, and then like we see his iconic run for the first time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was fucking exhilarating.
Dude,
I'm doing that forever.
He has been trying to catch that same high his entire
He's
career.
chasing the dragon.
Was this the beginning of I'm going to do all my own stunts?
Yes.
Tom Cruise?
Yes.
All right.
We can thank Brian De Palma for that.
100%. Yeah,
He's a psychopath. Man.
He's crazy.
He's a pusher. He's a drug adrenaline pusher.
Hanging out with Xenu too much.
Like,
and
I don't
doing
want to
his own
hang out with
stunts.
Tom Cruise, but
For
I kind
sure.
of want to hang out with Tom Cruise.
Yeah.
You know what? I bet he's a complete ass.
I don't know.
I bet he's
I
a
don't
complete
know.
total ass.
Oh, he's that guy that has to like go to bed with the sun and rise with the
Yeah.
sun.
Did you
and
guys-
no alcohol. He's a bore.
Did
I don't think I'd
In
want to
my
hang out
head
with
canon, he's
Dude,
a bore.
you guys hear?
I don't want to party.
I
with
want to
him.
hang out with Jason Momoa and not Tom Cruise.
Yeah,
For sure.
that would be more fun.
For
For
sure.
sure.
I'm gonna throw
Beer
an
and
axe-
throwing
throwing
axes.
axes and
Yeah.
shit.
Fuck yes.
Yeah, for sure.
Tom Cruise is like, I can throw an axe.
Yeah. Oh, I bet you he'd beat Tom. He'd
God.
probably be like, I'm going to learn how to throw an axe until I have to beat Jason Momoa.
Yeah, and he's going to be yelling the whole time, but it just goes up an octave and doesn't actually get any louder.
Oh, God. Don't remind me of The Mummy. That movie sucked. That's a one bad Tom Cruise movie. We found it. Remember we were
that
talking
is
like,
one.
hey, what's the
Yeah.
bad Tom Cruise movie? The Mummy.
Yeah.
2000 fucking whatever the
We'll
hell
have
it
to
was.
do bad Tom Cruise movie.
I mean,
week.
it's better than The Mummy 3, though.
that would be challenging.
Fair. Can we do bad Mummy movies or just bad Tom Cruise movies?
Cruise movies. What would We'll have to figure that out later.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good week,
I'm
though.
offended that you want to do that. I am offended.
He would be like, what the fuck are we watching these stupid movies for?
I'm offended that you think there's more than one. I'm looking at his IMDb right now.
Anyway, so yeah, we got the iconic scene. I love that whole suspended scene. That was great. Okay, so I'm going to talk some shit about the freaking helicopter thing. So Jean is flying the freaking helicopter and the bullet train's going towards the tunnel and Tom Cruise is like floating on there and he did the same thing that Hugh Jackman did in that Wolverine movie. Remember when he's flying on the back of the bullet train?
The funny thing is like that's a realistic version of like what would happen on a bullet train.
Yeah.
Where basically like he's just holding on for dear life.
Like, oh my God.
He can't move.
Yeah, his feet are flapping.
Yeah.
They didn't film that for real, right?
No, that had to have been
that
CG.
can't be real.
That was a wind tunnel. Had to have been a
I
wind
mean,
tunnel.
I know the helicopter stuff is all fake, but the sliding around on top of the bullet train, maybe, I don't know. I don't know how
No,
they
they did not actually film that on a bullet train.
I've
It's
got
funny
one.
that Tom Cruise makes us question that, though.
I know.
I've got one for you, Alex.
Go ahead, Jude. What's up?
I disagree that this is a bad movie, but I know that you will think that it is. Rock of Ages. the
Oh,
musical.
terrible Tom Cruise
The
movie.
musical.
Oh, I've
That's-
never seen it.
yeah,
That
I've
movie's
never seen it.
great.
So
I
fucking
can't
bad.
say if it's
He
bad or
plays
not.
an aging rock star.
Terrible.
Of course he does.
It's so good.
He learns how to sing too. I think he learned how to
yeah.
play the guitar for that.
He does all
that
his own
movie.
stunts. Does all his own stunts.
Okay. Anyway,
Oh, Magnolia.
I
I
just-
didn't like Magnolia.
I don't know what that is.
oh, you know what you wouldn't like is Vanilla Sky.
I didn't like Vanilla Sky.
Yes, I remember that movie with Penelope Cruz.
Didn't he win Best Actor for Magnolia?
That was a mind trippy movie. That movie like messed me up in my head for a long time. Like
Vanilla Sky. you're
Yeah.
talking about?
it fucked me up.
I fucking love Far and Away.
It was weird. Anyway,
My hat.
I'm just real quick. I'm just gonna say the whole freaking helicopter being pulled by the bullet train at breakneck speed and then like diving into the tunnel.
Yeah.
Get the fuck out of here,
Call
dude.
bullshit on that.
No way. That dude would
That
be,
is unbelievable.
that dude
That
would
does
be
not work.
dead. Immediately dead.
But
As
see,
soon as he hooked that freaking thing up to
That's
it.
kind of the thing about these movies, right? Is like they're not really doing anything that you kind of maybe can't see a super secret agent guy like actually do, especially in this first one, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But then they do this stupid helicopter shit at the end.
They crank it up to
And
11
I'm
at
like,
the end.
oh come on, come on,
Well,
man.
when
It
the
kinda ruined it a little
helicopter
bit.
exploded and propelled Tom Cruise like
Yeah.
onto the train, like that was pretty cool.
Oh, it was very cool. He'd be dead, but it was very cool.
You remember when that helicopter exploded?
Remember that time?
That was cool.
That was cool. So cool.
Oh, this movie.
Did we just turn into the Chris Farley show?
Sure.
You remember that time when that helicopter exploded?
Kittrick, you've never seen me upset.
That was the best freaking
I love that part. I love that part. That's my favorite part.
He's being like half interrogated by this
Yeah,
dude who thinks
yeah.
he was the traitor who killed his team, right? And
Yeah.
it's right before the fish tank thing. And and the guy's like grilling him. And he's like, I can tell you're upset, Ethan. Let's just take a break and let's just go back to Langley and we'll figure everything out or where the hell they were going.
Don't
And
you
he's
tell
like,
me how to feel my own feelings.
he's like, you've never seen me upset. And he throws the freaking gum at the thing. Oh, dude, it was so
and,
good.
And Henry Cerny, the actor who plays Kittredge, like I for some reason I just love him, and he was so good in this movie.
He's so good.
yeah.
How did the red light, green light gum get sticky and like it was all chewed up and gross? And
No,
stick
you
to the
don't.
thing?
You don't have to. You
'Cause he just
have to.
folded it in
you
half.
just have to fold it in half, and then it creates a chemical reaction, and don't question it.
Because you
Well,
Just
he's
smush
a piece
it.
of
he used
gum-
it.
Smush it and throw it.
So we see Emilio give him one piece of gum at
Yeah.
the beginning of the episode, show, whatever. And then he uses it twice in this movie.
here's
He
the
uses
thing.
it at the very beginning.
He squeezes it.
Yeah, he squeezes it,
and then
mushes it up, and
he
then throws it.
But it looks like it's all been chewed.
Well, it's
You can't
gum.
you can't mush up hard gum.
You can if your hands are really sweaty.
Yeah. Yeah. Or like you stuck your hand down the back of your pants before you took it out of your pocket.
Yeah.
What is that called from the mall
It's
rats?
not actually gum. Though, you
Yeah.
know.
What is it? He brown fisted him or
What
something.
was it?
What is
What's
it?
that shit called?
Stink fist.
Stink fist.
Nothing brown. Nothing
Nothing
brown.
brown. Nothing brown.
You ever smell your fingers when you do gross things? With
No.
You don't? It's kind of weird. But
Where is this-
I think people do that.
Where is this going?
I don't know. It's a human thing.
My sister used to
Like,
do that to me when I was a child, and I don't want to talk about it.
I did the armpit thing
Yeah.
from
weird.
Superstar.
Like pick your belly button and sniff it. later.
I smell like Manscaped.
Axe body spray.
This episode brought to you by Manscaped.
I wish we could get an affiliate from Manscaped. I use their shit all the time.
TMI, bro. TMI.
We need to get that coffee one.
Yes.
Yes.
All right. That's final thoughts on Mission Impossible 1. I guess. I don't know what else to say about it.
No, it's fine.
Yeah.
I was scoring all
Yeah,
that stuff.
score it. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so cool iconic scenes, but I was kind of bored. I was really bored. So I'm gonna give it 2.5 stars. I'm just gonna keep it. I'm gonna keep it right down the middle because it wasn't that great.
Way lower than I expected.
Yeah, 2.5. That's my barometer. The first one is my barometer movie,
Okay.
and I got to keep it down the center. So 2.5. out of
Okay.
5.
Jude?
I respect that. So, I have to compartmentalize things or else my brain explodes. So this, for me, is going in the Mission Impossible realm. And it is a good first effort. I think like everything that I have never watched the TV series or read the books. This was my first experience of Mission Impossible. And when I first watched it in 1996, I thought it was fucking amazing. In 2022, I'm like, oh, this is kind of boring. So I'm going to put it right down the middle and give it 2.5. Please fuck my wives out of 5.
God.
Okay.
Damn. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
He was like, she was afraid that you wouldn't fuck her, but I've tested the goods and I knew you'd fuck her.
Wow.
It was fucking weird.
That's weird.
gives a different vibe to that whole train scene, huh?
Wow.
That's not what you got out of that?
Not really, but okay, I guess.
She was like, Ethan, we could just steal the money and then we could go. And he's like, oh no, she said, shit. What's his name?
John Voight?
John Voight. She's like, John Voight, we could just steal the money and then we could go. And he's like, I'm not John Voight, I'm Tom Cruise. And she's like, oh no.
You know what would have made this movie better?
What's that?
Owen Wilson. You'd have Owen Wilson in it.
Wow.
Why? Wow.
Just because. He makes everything better.
Should we watch I Spy? I actually like that movie.
He could be like Ethan.
I'm going to one up you with Owen Wilson and give you a Woody Harrelson. And,
Oh, that would be cool, too.
So,
Oh,
yeah.
Cool. Okay, just final thoughts. Give it a rating.
I really love this movie. Upon rewatching it, it still held up. Brian De Palma, this is one of his 2 good movies, the other being The Untouchables. It was just fun seeing like his unique visual style in this film and like all the iconic scenes that are in this movie. And, it kicked off like one of the biggest franchises in Hollywood. And, I really enjoyed it. I liked it more than you guys did. I got to give it 4 stars out of 5.
Nice.
4 stars.
Yeah. Nice. I'm going to give it a solid 3. I was thoroughly entertained. I love it. I loved seeing young Tom Cruise, like the beginning, the very spark of his, like, I'm going to do some crazy shit for movies.
Mm-hmm.
I love seeing that. I don't know why. Maybe it's because it's like
It was fun.
It's different context now watching it, knowing what he's become and what he's doing now with stunts and stuff and going to space and shit. I'm just like, God, this is freaking. He started with a fish tank. I love it. It was really fun. Had a great time with it. I think I'm kind of with you guys. Like I've seen this movie before, but I felt like this was a first watch.
Yeah.
I didn't remember a lot of it.
Yeah.
Might as
It's
well
been
be
too
first,
long.
right?
Yeah. So yeah, solid 3-star for movie for me. I enjoyed the heck out of it. All right, guys, the next movie on our list is Mission Impossible 2. We'll be right back. Stay tuned. Welcome back to everybody. Hey, if you want to support the show for free, head over to saltynerd.com/DC and download Dragon Champions. It's a really fun mobile game that you can play completely for free. No transactions whatsoever needed. And type in the promo code SALTY to get some extra stuff, get a leg up. The goal is get yourself to level 20, and then you can join the Salty Nerd Podcast Guild. Well, there's only 25 spots open, so get in there before it fills up. We're almost halfway to 25 already, so head over to saltynerd.com/DC, download Dragon Champions on whatever platform you might use, whether it's iOS or Android, and start playing the game. It's a ton of fun. It's really easy to play. It's a nice little time burner. If you're sitting at the DMV or something like that, you can get like a bunch of levels done really, really fast. So head over there, and it's a team building and a hero collection game where you can collect some heroes, upgrade them, get them better, and progress through a campaign or go on raids and all that kinds of fun stuff. Kadish is like level freaking Psycho 80 or whatever, and Matt Vader is trying to get to that. He's 63.
63.
And if they use our promo code in the game, that gives us credit for sending them that way, and that helps out the show.
Yep.
Yeah. So head over there and join the guild. Once you reach level 20, you can search us at Salt and Mirror Podcast for the guild.
Have you guys done any raiding yet in the guild?
We did one raid last week.
I want to join in the next one because I'm like level 25 now.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah.
Push the button and go, bro.
I don't have to wait for you guys?
Once the raid starts.
Oh shit! I don't know how raids work.
I don't know.
Well, once the raid starts, you have like basically 12 hours to participate in
He's
it.
a raid first timer.
No, I know I do. I really want to get like a raid under my belt. I feel like it's important. But anyway, support the podcast, Dragon Champions. They're cool. All right, the next movie on our list, Mission Impossible 2. I'm so excited to talk about this freaking movie with you guys. Jude, take it away. 2000,
Mission Impossible 2, rated PG-13 with a runtime of 2 hours, 3 minutes. This had a budget of $125 million. What do you think this brought in, gentlemen? Starting with V.
What was the first movie? 460?
Mm-hmm. Roughly. 457, I think.
I don't think 395.
Okay, Alex.
280.
$546 million. John Woo, motherfuckers.
Yeah, but it explains why there's freaking 7 of these movies.
This is John Woo's highest grossing film.
Yeah.
You ready?
It's terrible. Go ahead.
How dare you? This is the best one.
You're crazy. Go ahead.
All right.
Go ahead.
Tom Cruise was enjoying a slow motion rock climbing holiday when he was interrupted with a new mission, which he needs Tandy Newton for. So he zips on over to Spain for some slow motion flamenco dancing when the object of his desire walks across the room in slow motion. She's there to steal a necklace, and Tom Cruise assumes it's her skill as a thief that's needed for the operation, but actually, it's her vagina. Anthony Hopkins needs her to re-seduce her old boyfriend, Dougray Scott, who's been impersonating Tom Cruise and stole the antidote to the deadly chimera virus. IMF needs to get the antidote out of his doppelganging hands, and nothing can separate a man from his ill-gotten antidote, quite like the pussy who got away. Tandy and Tom are torn. Sure, they want world peace and freedom from the chimera virus and all of that, but they were like really into each other. So what can be the solution? 2 things, said John Woo. Doves and more slow motion. Discuss.
God damn right.
Amazing. Fucking amazing.
This is the best one of these.
Fuck.
movies.
It's so
This
good.
is so
out of here.
So fucking good.
It's
This is
15 minutes long.
Oh God, it's so
but
good.
it's
I
all
love it.
slow motion.
You know, remember when I said I was bored during the first one?
You're not bored. You're
I
this one.
watched this entire movie in one sitting, didn't look at my phone a single time.
Amen, brother.
And I'm just
Amen,
like,
brother.
holy shit, this is awesome.
Yeah.
I'll
This
give
is
you
great.
that.
So much fun.
It
I've never
is-
seen this before. I've
Yeah.
never seen any other than the first one. This was the first watch, and I
Yeah.
was like, oh shit.
It's
John
very
Woo.
sexual.
Get the hell
Yeah.
out of here. Gunfights, slow motion.
Dude, yeah.
This
Doves.
is the worst Mission Impossible
This
movie.
was like a 2-hour long heavy metal music video. It was amazing. I
Yes.
loved it. I absolutely love this movie.
no, dude, it's just Hong Kong cinema.
Yeah, that's what's good about it. Okay. It was
It's the worst movie though.
It's John
It's so
Woo.
stupid. Everybody is an idiot in this movie.
You're on crack.
The slow
dude.
motion is ridiculous.
It's so
The
much fun.
fight scenes are ridiculous.
It's so much fun.
Yeah.
It's exactly everything you're saying is correct.
Yeah. But you're using the
But
wrong tone.
Yeah, wrong tone.
It's so dumb.
I love it when this side of the
It's
table.
so
is-
stupid.
is-
You know what, Alex? It's so dumb. Is how you should have said that. Is how you should have said that.
No, I
It's
can't.
so much fun.
I can't get on
First
board
of all,
with you guys.
It opens up with him
Okay.
actually
Oh,
climbing
God.
a mountain.
That shit's
Oh,
legit.
Yeah.
That made me sweat. When he's sitting there hanging wrong by his fucking
His two little
pinky,
fingers.
his little pinky toe, 2 miles above the ground. I'm like, Jesus Christ, Tom Cruise really did that shit.
He was like,
I'm
you
like
know what,
freaking out.
that fish tank thing from the
Oh,
last
man.
movie, that got me hard. I need a mountain. I need a fucking mountain.
I have anxiety
He's
watching
gonna
the
free
opening of
solo
this.
up in Utah somewhere and film that
scene
shit.
where he's hanging by his knees.
Yeah. Yeah.
That freaks me out,
It
dude.
was like I haven't had an orgasm since we filmed the last movie. This is the only way I can get shit accomplished.
And then-
I need to fly across a
then he-
mountain horizontally.
Yeah, but he jumps and hits a little pinky-sized ledge. I'm like, oh my God, what is going on?
We haven't even gotten to the title
I
screen
know,
yet.
and I've already jacked all over the screen already, dude. It was incredible. It was just, It's like, what just happened?
His fucking hair's blowing in that mountain wind.
Okay.
Looking good, my friend.
Tom Cruise's hair is its own character in this fucking movie.
100%.
It's its own entity.
First of all, that is a woman's hairstyle for the 90s, but it works on
Tom
him.
Cruise.
2006, Tom Cruise was like, I bet I can pull that shit off. And you know what? He can.
Yeah, dude. It was just, this is a great movie. It's my favorite movie.
No, you're crazy.
Absolutely.
It's not a great movie. It's fun.
No, you're wrong.
It is an
Wrong.
absolute blast.
Nope.
But it's terrible.
No,
This
you're
is
wrong.
a goddamn classic. How dare you?
You're crazy. Kadish, settle the score. Is it
I'm
terrible
with
or
Alex on this one.
Okay.
No, so.
Like I have so many mixed emotions about this movie because number one, I love John Woo. It's a John Woo movie.
Number 2, you're wrong.
Number 2, I love Tom Cruise. This is a Tom Cruise movie. The action in this movie is great, but the story is ridiculously stupid.
Okay,
So-
the story is ridiculously stupid. That's how you should say that.
You gotta have more
How you should have said
enthusiasm.
that.
So like the script for this movie didn't come together until like a week before they started shooting in Australia. So it was just all over the place. The story behind the making of this movie is kind of interesting because so first of all, John Woo, he was coming off the success of Face Off, and like this was kind of like in the era where Hollywood was trying to bring John Woo into the fold, and he was like coming off of major successes in Hong Kong, and he was like the godfather of action movies. And this movie, so originally, like him and Tom Cruise butted heads because John Woo did not want Tom Cruise doing his own stunts because he's like, dude, you're gonna die. He's like, I don't want to be the director who got Tom Cruise killed.
Yeah.
And so like plus John Woo was afraid of heights, so this opening sequence where he's climbing the mountains and doing like the freehand climbing. Tom Cruise was so first of all, Tom Cruise lied to the insurance company saying he wasn't doing his own stunts when he was going to do them, and that was the only way they could actually get insured for the movie. So like Tom Cruise insisted on doing all of his own stunts on this movie. And John Woo, coming from Hong Kong, he had his own like stunt team and all this stuff. And Tom Cruise just kind of inserted himself into that. And in this scene where like he's like, free climbing this cliff, John Woo was like at the bottom of the canyon with like his like little like, studio, like monitor studio, and he's afraid of heights, so he wasn't up there, and he's just sitting there. He's like, Tom Cruise is going to die.
Yeah.
Tom Cruise is going to die.
You watch it and you think he's gonna die.
Tom Cruise is William Shatnering this movie. Just
it
at the
doesn't have any
beginning.
boots to save him though.
I know.
It's an incredible scene. I will get the opening.
He's trying to one-up Shatner, and
Yeah.
Shatner's pissed.
The opening scene for this movie is incredible. I will give you guys that.
I mean, like Tom Cruise did all of his own motorcycle riding. In fact, there's a scene where like he drives through like this like fire wreck, like a car that was on fire and stuff.
I want that poster on the
And
wall.
he didn't wear any kind of like flame retardant gel or any kind of protection. He actually just drove through the fire. And Tom Cruise, or like John Woo, the entire time he's just like, Tom, you can't do this stunt. And Tom's like, watch me. I'm gonna do it. And
It's fine. It's like passing your hand over a candle.
Yeah,
You'll be
it was
all
no
right.
big deal.
And like Tom Cruise probably thought like, I'm doing this for John Woo because I know how I feel when I'm in a situation that might kill me. And John Woo at the end of it was like, I'm never working with you again.
well, here's the interesting thing about having John Woo direct this movie. So basically, John Woo, he didn't speak English, right? So like this entire movie, he was like basically busy planning the action scenes, and Tom Cruise basically co-directed this film. So anything having to do with the actors and stuff like that, it was Tom Cruise who would work with the writers and things of that nature. And John Woo was basically just there to film the action. And when the filming was over, John Woo went to edit the movie, and his original cut of the movie was 3.5 hours long. And it had a lot more in-depth stuff about like the espionage and the storylines, and it was a hard R. Like there was like a lot of gore, a lot of like blood, because it's John Woo.
Jeez, I want to see that.
I want to see that cut too.
I want the John Woo cut. But the studio was like, we can't release an R-rated 3.5 hour Mission Impossible movie. And so basically Tom Cruise locked John Woo out of the editing bay, took over the movie, cut it down to 2 hours and made it PG-13. And it created a lot of like kind of plot holes, and it wasn't as cool because there wasn't as much blood and bullet hits and stuff like that. So the final version of this that we watched, this is Tom Cruise's cut of the film.
The Tom Cruise cut.
Oh God, Tom Cruise cut sucks.
Yeah, to meet Paramount's mandates of what they wanted in this movie.
As much as I like this, I really want to see that version. It's probably epic.
Yeah,
it probably is.
And Nicole Kidman got her cast in this movie. This was Tandy Newton's first big film. She had done a film with Nicole Kidman called Flirting before this, and basically she convinced Tom Cruise to cast Tandy in this role, and this was like her first big break. And Tandy Newton hated working with Tom Cruise.
Really?
Yeah,
Really?
like she came out later on and talked about like how intense he was. Because he was so stressed on not only like acting in the movie, but having to like co-direct it because John Woo just didn't speak English. And so John Woo never really worked with her. He was just kind of there like telling them where to put the cameras.
So she had no support.
Yeah. And Tom Cruise was like so like stressed out and intense. Like there's a scene where they're on a balcony in, I want to say Spain or something like that. And they're supposed to have like this back and forth exchange. And she said the first time they shot it, Tom Cruise was so stressed out, like the dialogue was terrible and nothing was jiving. And he actually had a zit growing on his nose from stress. She was like, I've never seen a whitehead form in real time before until this scene. And he was making her do like these things where like, he was like, okay, you do my lines and I'll do your lines and we'll pretend to be each other's characters and that'll loosen us up and stuff like that. And she was like, it was just so awkward and terrible.
Yeah.
And they had to go back and reshoot that scene because it was just so bad. And she was just like, you know, like I was a young actress and I didn't really have a lot of experience in working with Tom. Like he's a good guy and his heart's in the right place, but he was just so hard to work with because he's so intense.
Oh man, I can.
She's freaking gorgeous in this
I've
movie.
heard that from other actors. I think about working with Tom Cruise and
Yeah,
other
that's
movies.
why I don't want to hang out with him.
Yeah, he seems like he'd be a super intense dude.
Not that he's asking, but I don't want to hang out.
But you know, Tandy Newton.
She's gorgeous. in this
She's
freaking movie, dude.
she's got a very unique look
This is
to her.
the most beautiful I think I've ever seen her.
Yeah, she looks amazing.
She's also
Amazingly
super
hot.
young in this movie.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like, oh wait, isn't that the chick from Star Wars Rogue One or something? Yeah. Or no,
No.
Solo. She was in Solo.
Yeah, she was also in Westworld.
Yeah, Westworld.
Westworld and Chronicles of Riddick.
And
Yeah.
she's so intense in Westworld that her character is so intense that you almost forget how beautiful she is. But in this, she's just so pretty.
I just watched her in this movie called All the Old Knives with Chris Pine.
Oh, yeah.
That's
And
good.
It was really good, and she was really good in it.
So I'm going to talk some shit about this movie. I'm going to deflate you guys a little
No,
bit.
you're not.
Okay.
No, you can't. 'Cause I
Okay,
love
so
this
look,
movie.
dude,
Good
like
luck.
the slow-mo in this beginning part with the
amazing.
dancers,
I agree.
it's great. It's really, really great. It's way too freaking long. It's like 15 minutes of them just like looking at each other across with like red
That's
shit in
John
the
Woo,
camera.
though. That's,
Yeah.
that's
No,
straight up John Woo.
100%.
That's probably more
100%.
like 90 seconds.
I'm upset at the lack of doves in this movie.
We'll get to the
Oh,
doves in a
yeah.
minute. The doves are a plot point in this movie.
love
They
it.
literally progress the plot.
Actually, there's only one dove in the movie. The rest were pigeons.
God damn it,
the
John
white
Woo.
dove.
Shut the fuck up, kids. Don't you fucking ruin this for
So
me.
so they go through this whole little like fake stealing of the necklace or whatever, and he's like, "Oh, I was actually the freaking security guard here or whatever," and he pushes the button and the alarm
Joke's
goes off.
on you, you
Yeah,
dumb
joke's on
bitch.
you.
I thought that was very clever.
It's so stupid. Anyway, so they go as she leaves and she's like, "I'm not working with you. You're a freaking jerk." And she like buzzes off and he's like, "Haha, I'm smiling like an idiot the whole time." And they're driving and he calls her cell phone. And she's like, "How do you have this number?" "I don't even have this number." I'm like, "What? That doesn't make any sense."
Car phone.
Whatever, that doesn't make any
She
sense.
stole the car.
So stupid. Doesn't make any sense.
Okay.
There's no setup for that. That
It's
doesn't.
so stupid.
She never.
It's
How do you know?
you should say this?
Nobody said she stole that car.
You say that with more enthusiasm
It's
in
not
your
her
voice.
car.
Yeah,
Anyway,
your tone's all
so
wrong.
they're going through this little back and forth, and it's very much just a ripoff of the freaking scene with Famke and Pierce Brosnan from that other James Bond movie, GoldenEye, where they're chasing each other in the street.
That makes me like it even more.
Same freaking thing.
Except this was better.
No, and
I mean, the slow motion car spinning.
that
Oh,
was
it's
so
amazing.
terrible.
I love it.
It was so stupid. And then they crash, and her car is like hanging off the cliff. She falls out of the car because she's not wearing a seatbelt. She's hanging there off the freaking thing. He grabs her, they pull up, and then they proceed to have a makeout session on the
Oh, yeah.
edge of the cliff while the car
Which is what you do.
Yeah. Because you're all horned up from all the adrenaline running around.
Adrenaline, baby.
get off the cliff. Just Get in the other car.
Listen, man.
Alex,
When you
have you
when
never had
listen,
sex before? Because
Listen.
this is how you're supposed to do it.
when you watch a John Woo movie, you have to mentally prepare yourself that it's a John Woo movie.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
You're watched it all wrong.
The best line.
Agree.
You guys
That
are.
was rough. I hit his fist really hard. I hurt myself a little bit.
We'll do it lighter. There you go.
The best line in this movie, and possibly the best line ever spoken by Anthony Hopkins, Sir Anthony Hopkins.
Yes.
I believe.
Is this the one about her vagina?
Dude,
Fuck you.
when he's like,
Fuck
no,
you
no,
100%.
this is amazing. He goes like, he's like, are you gonna have a hard time convincing her to go back with her old boyfriend? And he's like, yes, it's gonna be very difficult. And he's like, well, this is not Mission Difficult. This is Mission Impossible. He's like, she's not trained for this kind of shit. And he stops mid freaking thing. He goes, what? To sleep with a man and lie to him? She's a woman. She's got all the training she needs.
That line was epic.
Yes. Yes.
And he delivered it so
He
well.
delivered it with a shit-eating
perfect.
grin on his face.
She's got no training for this kind of thing.
But to go to bed with a man and lie to him, she's a woman. She's got all the training she needs.
It's fucking Anthony Hopkins, man.
To sleep with a man and lie to him. She's got all the training she needs.
She's a woman.
She's like,
Fuck you. Fuck you. Fuck you.
Yeah. That's amazing.
Glorious.
But this is the only time in the entire series that they use the word Mission Impossible in the titular line.
That's all right. I like it.
Made me cry.
It's not Mission Difficult, Mr. Hunt. It's Mission Impossible.
Little fourth wall. I like it.
I love Anthony
So
Hopkins.
originally, Sir Ian McKellen was supposed to play that role, and he turned it down. And it's a good thing he did because
For feminism.
this movie, so it had overruns, right? In fact, Tom Cruise eventually had to pay out of pocket to finish the movie because of all the overruns that they had. And because it dragged on, basically Dougray Scott was originally cast as Wolverine in X-Men. And he was not able to fulfill that role because of this movie. And so they had to go with their second choice, which was Hugh Jackman.
Oh my
for that
God, is he
film.
so pissed?
And then Sir Ian McKellen, if he had taken this role, he wouldn't have been able to, number one, do Magneto, but number two, he also wouldn't have been able to do Lord of the Rings. So it was very fortuitous that he turned down this role. And actually, Tandy Newton was originally supposed to be in the Charlie's Angels reboot, with Cameron Diaz and stuff like that. And it was because of this movie she had to drop out because, she was still contractually obligated to finish this film.
That's funny because the first movie that we talked about earlier was giving me a lot of the Charlie's Angels vibes with the whole this is the team member that does this and this is the team member that does this, and it was very nostalgic for me in that way.
There was a scene that later on in the movie where they go to the horse races. So it's after she's infiltrated the bad guy's hub. She's pretending to be.
She went back to her boyfriend.
She went back to her boyfriend. Whatever.
He infiltrated her.
Okay. Another sensual scene, that freaking whole dress thing. I bought this for you. I wanted to see if I still remembered your size. And then she's like,
all bad people, all evil genius guys,
super horny.
have dresses in their closet for when a woman.
Can we talk about how much of a dick he is to his right-hand man? If there's anybody you're not going to be a dick to, it's your right-hand man.
Why are you loyal to him now?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
He was the right-hand man, the blonde dude in the movie, was asking a very obvious question. Hey, bro, your ex-girlfriend came back after 6 months of leaving you.
It's very convenient.
This might be a little bit awkward and convenient. Maybe she's working for the bad guys, according to their perspective.
And he's right.
And he's 100% right. And the dude's like, no, fuck you. She wants me and I'm going to use her. And he clips his freaking pinky off with the cigar clipper.
Yeah, that would hurt.
Oh, what a dick.
There's there's several moments in this movie that make me nervous and cringe, and I think that's just good. It's the height, anything having to do with height, and cliffs and driving along the edge of them or hanging from your knees from them.
Yeah, Vader hates.
I am terrified of heights. I don't
he
even
hates not being able to feel the earth underneath. His
that's
feet.
just true.
Yeah.
I need something solid underneath my feet. I don't like
hates
Ferris
the
wheels.
ocean. Hates cliffs.
Too deep. It's too deep. If I can't see the bottom, I'm not going. I don't like lakes. I don't like oceans.
Okay.
I like clear blue chlorinated water that I can see the bottom of.
Okay.
I know all of your fears.
I'm not joking, man.
Anyway.
It freaks me out. And if a movie can make me freak out, literally start sweating from my phobias, that's doing a good job.
Okay. All right.
You know what I mean?
I think my biggest problem with this movie is like the first half of this movie is not John Woo to me. It's the second half of this movie where basically like Tom Cruise just goes full like Chow Yun Fat. But the funniest thing is like when Tom Cruise is infiltrating the underground base where they're having like the Chimera deal with Brendan Gleeson. There's a scene where like he just like rolls for no reason before like he gets to like the great.
Okay.
It's in his contract. He has to.
And it reminded me of that episode of Eureka, Purple Rain that we talked about, where Fargo just rolls for no reason because he's like infiltrating a farm.
And also on Showtime, where De Niro's like, real cops don't do that.
Shatner rolls for no reason. Yeah, 100%. Anytime there's a fake roll or Galaxy Quest when,
Do you guys remember when we were talking about Hard Target, which was John Woo's first American film with Jean-Claude Van Damme? Van Damme kept insisting that he have a camera dedicated to just filming close-ups of his muscles.
Right.
And I just think like Tom Cruise must have had the same demand for his hair in this movie.
Yes.
I need a camera for my hair.
It has its own character in this movie.
It
It's Tom
really
Cruise's
does.
hair,
It
slow
really
motion
does.
hair.
It got me.
Anyway, from the Mandalorian. So the scene at the horse races, they're going there. They're trying to figure out what the bad guy wants, what he's dealing with, and they've got John C. What's his name? Not John C. Riley. The pharmaceutical guy.
Brendan Gleeson.
Why did I think John C. Riley?
Because he's in the next movie.
Anyway,
He's not in the next
no,
one.
he's not. Brendan Gleeson is there, and they're doing this like a little back and forth deal, and Ethan Hunt's there with the binoculars. They've got Vig Rhames in the van, and then they've got the Australian dude who's like also a lookout or whatever. And the deal transpires. They takes the envelope and he puts it in his left jacket pocket. This is the most ridiculous freaking scene maybe in the entire movie.
Why?
Because he's like, it drove me freaking crazy every time I watched this movie this week. But he's sitting there and goes, he just put something in his left jacket pocket, and Ethan Hunt goes, confirmed, left jacket pocket. And the other guy goes, confirmed, left jacket pocket. And then the chick, I can't remember her name either. The chick goes, she's sitting there. She can hear all of this.
Tandy Newton.
Tandy Newton. She can hear. She's on the same radio channel as everybody else. And Tom Cruise goes, okay, listen, I need you to get something out of. And she cuts him off and goes, his left jacket pocket. And everybody goes, whoa, she's such a good spy. And I'm like, you just fucking said it 3 times.
She really is trained for this.
I'm like, Jesus Christ.
I don't know what
This is so stupid.
What is such a problem with that?
It's dumb.
It's not dumb. It's good. It's good setup, payoff.
There's also the fact that he basically had a decoy in his left jacket pocket. The real one was in his right jacket pocket.
No, what happened? No, this is what happened. So she went and pickpocketed it out of his left jacket pocket.
Put it in his
goes and gives it to Tom Cruise, who Vig Rhames has to run from the van to Tom Cruise to give him a digital camera so he can read the thing and then transmit it back to the van where Vig is in, and then he gives it back to her so that she can go and plant it back. But what happens is she plants it in the wrong pocket.
Puts it in his right jacket pocket.
He puts it in she puts it in the right jacket pocket, and he notices, which sets him off to so okay, she's working with those guys.
She is a spy.
Boom. I was paying attention. I just hate this movie. It's stupid.
It's not stupid. It's good.
It's fun, but dumb.
Okay, it's fun, but dumb is how you should have said that.
You need to put a little more enthusiasm in your.
Your tone is all wrong. Am I right?
The other thing I got to complain about this movie, like the first movie did masks very interesting and fun, and I enjoyed that. They went way overboard with the masks in this movie. It was like everybody had everybody else's face just like waiting on standby. Like, hey, I need to infiltrate this place and I need to look like him. Boom, got it. It's in my backpack. And he just throws it on. And like the movie never bothers to explain where these people are getting these masks from.
Technology.
It's just
the next movie does.
Thank you, JJ Abrams. That you never see.
Never thought I'd hear those words.
Never thought you'd hear those words. The next movie explains where the masks come from, but this movie just completely glosses it over.
I feel like the next movie is even more ridiculous with the masks.
Well, here's the thing, though. So, like, Dougray Scott's character has a mask of Tom Cruise because he's impersonated Tom Cruise. And so Tom Cruise takes that mask that Dougray Scott used and puts it on the henchman guy to pretend that. Now the question is, where did he get the mask to pretend to be the henchman from?
And also, when you rip it off, is it more than one wear per mask? Because they're not really treating the masks with care.
I think they are reusable.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh,
I
okay.
disagree.
Listen,
yeah.
You're asking too many questions.
I
about
agree.
the masks.
This is
agree.
the
Don't
basic
ask questions.
This is basic ass shit, dude.
Hey, remember when that door blows up and Tom Cruise walks by in slow motion as a dove flies through the door?
It's amazing.
I got a hard on for that one. That was pretty freaking good. It's just like the bad guy's looking through it. He's like, "What just happened?" You see Tom Cruise as the flames go by and a dove flies in.
Are we moving on to the doves?
Yeah,
Oh, I
sure.
love the doves.
Doves are amazing.
Doves.
Well, that's a John Woo thing.
There's
Yes.
only one dove in the movie.
Well, there's pigeons and doves.
Whatever.
Stop ruining
That's
it.
one white dove. You know, I love it. It was great.
It was great.
It was slow motion.
I love and dude. Okay,
The screen is
that
just like,
that
oh,
that
man.
is
John Woo loves birds.
Oh, yeah.
the assault on the bunker.
Mhm.
Perfection.
Yeah.
Chef's kiss.
That ridiculous somersault he does to kick the guy in the gut out in the middle of nowhere just for no reason.
The backflip.
The backflip. Yeah, he just runs up, he punches the guy, knocks him down. He's trying to knock him out without
Yeah.
alerting the other
He
guards.
needed the trajectory of the
And
flip.
he just does a flip and then lays his leg onto the guy's gut
Yeah.
to finish him off.
Sure.
And the guy is so mesmerized, he just stands there and takes it.
In slow motion. Perfect. Fuck it.
That's incredible. Master filmmaking.
Great.
Remember that part where Dougray Scott and Tom Cruise are kind of like heading towards each other on motorcycles, and then they both jump off at the same time and collide in midair as their
And kiss?
motorcycles
You know what
blow up.
You know what I really want to talk about the motorcycles with? Because I know
The way he does the whole thing on his front wheel.
No, that's that's an endo. You can do
Yeah.
that. Those are real. I can imagine the conversation somebody had with John Woo, and there was probably some kind of a language barrier here. But John Woo was like, "Hey, I want to have motorcycles, and we're going to go from racing on the street. We're going to have a good street race, and then we're going to go off road, and we're going to go into the dirt, and then we're going to end up on the beach." And somebody was like, "John,
And John Woo was like, off-road, yes.
yes,
Yes,
And
up
I'm
there,
like,
up there.
He's like, John, we cannot go on road and off road with the same bikes because you will not be able to maneuver with street tires on dirt. And he's like, so just change the tires.
Yeah.
They're like, well, people are going to notice that. No,
Did they
they're
do
not.
that?
Yes.
Did they do that?
Dude,
Oh, that's
you can
incredible.
literally see the street. They're racing the motorcycles, going around the street and cutting around corners and doing all kinds of cool ass shit. And they have the like GoPro camera on the back where
Yeah.
you can see the tires. It's a street tire.
You know what?
And then the second they get into dirt, he stops and there's like these giant knobby ass tires on this motorcycle. And they're like, whoa, going like
here's the
dirt
thing.
biking.
That makes me like this movie even more.
Yeah, that motorcycle had
That's
a face-off technology too.
They just changed tires like midway through the scene.
Transformers, more than meets the eye. Hell yeah, dude.
It's so stupid.
It's so I love
nice,
it. I love
nice
it.
reference.
I also want to know why the Chimera disease when they go to the big tower and they're like, he's going to do some. I love that he knew what Tom Cruise was going to do before he did it because
Yeah.
he knows his personality. He's like,
Yeah.
he's not going to hurt anybody.
It's his
He's gonna-
job to impersonate him.
Yeah.
Also, like the weird thing is they dropped Tandy Newton off in like a crowded city in Australia because they want her to like, spread the virus.
disease.
But then like the next time we see her, she's on like a cliffside contemplating killing herself to prevent Chimera from getting
Well, she
out there.
just took a taxi.
Yeah.
Was
She took an
So
Uber.
that
Okay.
taxi driver's
Listen.
definitely
All right.
dead.
We all have a special relationship with transmittable diseases lately
Oh,
because of the freaking pandemic. And I'm sitting there and they're like, yes, we're going to drop her off into a populated area. And I'm like, you've been around her this whole fucking time.
Yeah.
She's fine.
Yeah.
Like, she's not transmitting it to you. What makes you think she's going to transmit it to
I
anybody
want you
else?
to piss your way through the city.
Well, the doctor who infected himself at the beginning of the movie, he gets onto an airplane.
Yeah.
And like everyone's fine.
Yeah.
So like it's not a highly transmissible virus.
No, like their whole plan is ridiculous. It makes no sense. And then like when Tom Cruise goes to the big tower and he wants to destroy the virus, like I love how conveniently the destruction of the virus happens. He goes in, he's like, oh yeah, I need to go destroy the incubation chambers. And each individual incubation chamber has its own like death laser that sits right above it. So he can just push a button and
Listen,
it like,
man.
Death laser. You said death laser, and your tone is all fucking wrong. You don't appreciate the phrase death laser at all, and I'm upset and I'm offended.
Yes, you need to appreciate death lasers more. But here's the thing: during that scene when Cruise was in the bunker and he killed the viruses, he's sitting there with his two guns.
yes. Oh, the spin moves are epic in this movie.
John Woo and his two guns is fucking epic.
Yeah.
But I just felt like he was just channeling his character. It was such a great acting moment when he was sitting there, pinned down behind the thing with his two guns.
Yeah.
And he just the emotion that he was exuding off of his face, that you could feel his frustration coming through the scene coming through the television screen. It's just incredible. He should have got an Oscar.
Can we talk
He should
about
have got an Oscar.
Can we talk about the stupidity of the bad guy for sending his like obviously not trusting girlfriend to go pick up the virus gun?
You never trust a girlfriend.
And he's like,
He thinks.
go pick it up and bring it to me. And the whole time she's doing this, I'm like, she's going to inject herself. Like, do you not think she's just
Well,
going to
of
inject
course.
herself? Why would you send her to go get that thing? She's just going to do that.
You know what's kind of funny is like, so you guys complained about how the first movie didn't have any action in it.
Yeah.
And with this movie, it feels like Tom Cruise and his producing partner were like, let's go in the complete opposite direction.
Yeah.
Let's make this as dumb as possible.
You know what?
And make it filled with action as opposed to the first movie, which was very cerebral and had almost no action in it.
And he even slowed it down for all of us dummies.
Yeah, but here's the thing, man. It works.
Yeah, no, it doesn't
works.
because it's stupid.
It does work.
They
It absolutely works.
You know the worst part of this movie is the soundtrack. It felt like all the music in this movie was off
also
of
in slow mo.
it felt like they just pulled it off those royalty free generic.
They redid the
score
Mission
scenes.
Impossible theme as well, right?
Yeah,
they made
they-
it like hardcore,
The
like
metal.
Yeah,
With metal too.
They went metal
It was
with
great.
it.
I loved it.
Well, actually, Metallica. This was the first movie that they ever did an original song
Yeah.
for.
Yes. Yeah.
This has a Metallica song in
Yeah.
it.
Yeah,
Wow,
at the end credits.
I didn't know that. So I'm sorry, I got a whole list of things that are wrong with this movie.
Oh my god.
And they're all wrong.
So
There's some Limp Bizkit in
at the
them
end of that
thing
fight
too,
scene, at the end of that fight scene in the tower when they're all shooting each other, like everybody's like they killed the guards walking in, like oh we're gonna kill all the guards that way we can walk in and go to whatever floor we want. Nobody's gonna stop us. But then they're shooting and everybody's blowing things up. But it wasn't until Ethan Hunt like blew out the side of the wall it somehow set off an alarm where like a SWAT team came out of nowhere and like stormed up the stairwell and went to their floor and started shooting at the bad guys and gave Ethan enough time to escape. And then we just cut and the bad guys are like, well, I guess we're going to leave then. I'm like, what happened to the SWAT team that just came up the staircase and tried to kill you?
Here's don't care.
Excellent point.
How did they get out of the building?
Doesn't matter.
Oh my God.
Another great point from Vader.
John Woo movie. Deal.
I'm like, where's
Vader
the
is
other,
winning this argument.
like, where's the other 30 minutes of this movie?
Doesn't matter.
I want to see that.
You know, John Woo might have filmed all this stuff, but Tom Cruise cut it out.
That's what I'm
right.
saying. I want to see the other half of this movie.
I would watch the John Woo
It's
cut.
missing
I
chunks.
do want to see it, but I don't care.
It's literally the Snyder cut before the Snyder cut was ever.
Yeah, it's the Joss Whedon-
3.5 hour movie.
It's the Joss Whedon version of this movie is what we're watching right now.
Release the woo cut.
This movie's ridiculous and stupid. I love the
It's
John
fun.
Woo-isms though. Like when he like zooms in on people's eyes when they're like important or something happens and they're like, oh no. And,
And then
it's
the
like,
dove flies by.
And then the dove flies
in
by.
slow
Doves are
Slow
amazing.
motion.
he does 2 slow motion somersaults in this movie, which are both incredible.
Awesome.
Great. The motorcycle fight scene was just ridiculous. Oh, did you guys know that scene at the end where they're on the beach and the guy tries to stab Ethan Hunt in the face with a knife and the knife stops like right in front of his eyeball? That shit was real.
Yeah, dude.
They
Fucking
put
Tom
that
Cruise.
they put that knife on a wire. And they said, okay, now jump at him and try and stab him in the face. And the only thing that stopped that from happening was the wire. I was like,
And it was Tom Cruise's idea.
I was like, holy,
He's like, I want that thing right by my eye.
what the fuck is wrong with him?
Tom Cruise was like, Scientology will protect me.
I couldn't have, like, when I found that out, it's like, are you crazy?
He's a little crazy.
Well, that was another thing where like John Woo was like, we can just like CGI in the blade, and Tom Cruise is like, no,
It needs to be a real
needs
blade.
to be a real blade. Like
Yeah.
people need to see
No
that.
wonder everything was behind schedule.
How many?
'Cause Tom Cruise was like, we have to do that for real.
Yeah.
And they were like, we can just do it. No.
No.
We have to do it for real. Put it on a wire.
I like Tom Cruise so much more now. It is unbelievable. He's crazy. He's absolutely crazy, and I kind of like it. I don't know why. I don't know. I just
Still don't want to hang out with him.
no.
but
He's kind of a douche.
Literally any movie, I'll watch.
How many drop kicks do you think were at the end of this movie?
I don't know.
7.
7.
7 slow motion drop kicks.
That's amazing.
He drop kicked that bad guy 7 times.
Good for him.
Yeah.
I love the kicking,
job, Tom
the
Cruise.
kicking of the gun.
You know
out
that
of
you're
the sand.
counting these kind of things means you're being a little obsessive.
You
about
don't know how to enjoy
This movie is
things.
so
You
bad.
should enjoy things.
Let's see. It's like a bunch of slow motion, and style over substance.
Yes.
It's almost like there's this other director that does this these days
like
that
you don't-
drives Kadish
It's
crazy.
like you don't even know
Don't you
me.
fucking say
But
it, Alex.
slow motion director with a style over substance narrative makes movies that drive Kadish crazy that you guys all love.
You know what? If I was a movie director, these are the kind of movies I would make. I'm not even joking.
Zack Snyder. This is a Zack Snyder movie.
Oh my God.
It really kind of is. It
You
is.
had to say it.
I did.
I want to see him collaborate
I
with
had
John
to say
Woo.
it. I had to say it because I know Kadish loves John Woo, and I'm like, but this movie seems like a
here it is.
Zack Snyder movie.
Zack Snyder and John Woo get together, collaborate, and they make a
That would be-
new universe filled with kung fu fighting superheroes.
It's called Sucker Punch.
So
Doves who fight each other
that
in
would be
slow motion.
awesome. I would so watch the shit out
John
of
Woo
that.
is not a native English speaker. What's Zack Snyder's excuse for making like terrible movies?
He has good taste and likes to make cool things.
See, I respect John Woo because like, you know, his Hong Kong films are all like brilliant.
Right.
And some of his American films were good.
Mm-hmm.
You know, in this situation, they hired John Woo, and when they got a John Woo movie, they didn't want a John Woo movie. And so
Right.
like they took it away from him and made it into something else.
Well, why would you hire John Woo if you don't want a John Woo movie? That's
And
silly.
you know what's crazy is like all three of these Mission Impossible movies, they all have very different directors to them with all very different styles. And originally, Tom Cruise wanted it to have like a different like feel like with each movie, but by the time the third movie came around, they were like, yeah, you know, we should probably settle in on a certain type of style on this thing.
I love how different all three of these are.
Yes.
Yeah, and that's the power of directors, where like, you know, when you have like very unique auteurs directing movies, they have like their own kind of like cinematic language, and they bring a unique look and style to the film. And you know, it was both interesting and also wrong in ways. Like, it would have been nice if there had been like some continuity between the movies, but there just wasn't.
We have continuity. We have Ving Rhames.
That's true.
Listen, are we going to start
Yeah.
rolling this up? You want me to score?
Yeah.
So I enjoyed the shit out of this movie. I really did. But my enthusiasm for this movie through this thing, it's been partly sarcasm, but mostly not. I enjoyed the shit out of this movie. I did. Just like I said at the beginning, I had fun the entire time. I'm going to give this movie a 4.
Fuck out.
And if you don't like it, you can kiss my ass, because I had an absolute blast watching this movie. I could watch this movie again right now without any hesitation or problem. And I don't really care if you don't like my score or not.
That's fine.
It's a super fun movie, and I loved it. It was fun.
You're entitled to your opinion.
Yeah, I know.
Jude.
If I were on the prowl for getting a guy all horned up, this is what I would
Hell
play
yeah.
on my date night. 4 stars.
Boom.
Yeah.
Another 4-star movie.
Yep.
Yeah, yeah.
Wow.
Yep.
You hit
4
that,
cliffhangs out of
that was
5.
really hard. You did another hard.
I hit it just right though. It, like your knuckle went in between my knuckles,
okay,
and it
that
was
was
like
pretty cool.
perfect.
The right. We need a fist bump cam.
Yeah.
Kadish, what's your rating for this?
So this is a very confusing movie for me, because there are elements
Sexually?
to it that I like. I love John Woo. I love Tom Cruise. I like Tandy Newton in this. The action in this movie is great. The music is terrible. The story doesn't make any freaking sense. It's a bad movie, but it's got so many good elements to it. It's hard to justify the good parts with the bad parts or reconcile them. So I got to go with 2 stars on this one. This is not
bullshit.
this is not a good movie, but like it's not a 1-star movie. I can't give it 3 stars because it's not enjoyable. Like, the entire time I was watching this movie, I was like, this is painful. This is painful because I want to like it so bad, but it's not a good movie.
I love it when we have
I have a
wide
question.
scores like this.
Were you on a plane when you watched this and physically in pain because you hate traveling?
No, I was in a hotel room when I watched this.
I'm with Kadish. This is a 2-star movie. This is terrible.
You guys
It's
are
stupid.
insane.
The storyline is ridiculous and dumb, and it doesn't make any sense. The bad guys are just stupid.
All of that was said in the wrong tone.
And the fight scenes are amazing. I love watching the fight scenes. They're so slow-mo and ridiculous and just over the top, like music video style fight scenes.
Yeah.
I'm all right with that. I'm all right with that. Anthony Hopkins delivers the most fantastic. Anthony Hopkins delivers the most phenomenal freaking line in any movie ever. I got to give it points for that. But yeah, this is a 2-star movie. It's ridiculous and stupid and fun.
And you're wrong.
You're allowed to have an opinion.
So are you.
That is wrong.
All right, the table is split. Who are you on the side of? Comment below. Is this a 4-star movie or is this a 2-star movie? Let us know in the
It's fine
comments.
that you have a wrong opinion.
I know.
Sure,
That's really
yeah,
it.
you too.
It's absolutely fine.
The next movie on our list, Mission Impossible 3. We'll be right back. Welcome back, everybody. Hey, if you want to support the podcast, get some awesome merch in return, head over to saltynerdstore.com and grab some of our t-shirts. And we might be having hats and some other really cool stuff here pretty soon. But we'd really appreciate the support. And if you do buy some of our merch, please send us a picture via Instagram or wherever, or Discord if you want to send it in there. And we'd love to share it around. The support that we get from the purchase of t-shirts goes a long way. We get a lot of that money. So I don't want you guys to think that like, oh, I'm going to buy a shirt, but then most of it goes to the company and only a little bit goes to us. No, actually, we get a pretty significant amount. So head over to saltynerdstore.com, grab a shirt, and help support the podcast.
I feel like most people are like, I just want a shirt. I don't care who the money goes to.
And also our coupon code.
Salty for 10% off.
Yes.
That's true. Thank you very
And
much.
we've got 2 shirts right now that are limited time. We have our Stargate Atlanta shirt and we have our Eureka shirt. And Eureka is going to be going away soon. And then we're going to have our Stargate Atlanta shirt and a Firefly t-shirt.
I'm excited to see what you come up with for Firefly.
I'm so stressed out about it.
Oh my God.
All right, the next
Calm
movie.
down.
The next movie on our list. Mission Impossible 3, directed by JJ Abrams. Philip Seymour Hoffman.
Who's
man.
also doing Viking Cop.
Yes. He's our cameraman. Jude, take it away.
2006 Mission Impossible 3, rated PG-13 with a runtime of 2 hours, 6 minutes. This had a budget of $150 million. What do you think this brought into the box office, Alex?
420.
All right, V?
These are hits, apparently. So.
650.
Damn.
$398 million.
I was
Alex
going to go
was
low
closer.
too.
Neither of you win a speed bump today.
Yeah, so like after the second movie, like a lot of people went to go see the second movie. It's the highest grossing movie in the franchise. But after the second movie, people didn't like it. And so like it hurt this movie going forward. But this movie kind of also rebooted the Mission Impossible franchise going forward. And every single Mission Impossible from this point on is a Bad Robot production.
All right.
That's unfortunate.
Why? These are good movies. Go ahead, Jude.
All right. Ethan Hunt is retired-ish, engaged, and going head-to-head with arms dealer Philip Seymour Hoffman. When a fellow agent goes missing, Ethan agrees to track and retrieve her. She dies before he can get her to safety, but reveals to Ethan that she believes she was set up by someone in the agency. Ethan works to uncover who the rat is and gets in between Philip Seymour Hoffman and his rabbit's foot. So what's an annoyed arms dealer to do but kidnap Ethan's now wife and pretend to murder her in front of Ethan? It's just japes, though. That wasn't Ethan's wife. He just murdered some useless translator, that's all. PSH really wants to hear Michelle Monaghan call Ethan's name before he kills him, and it's the kink that gets him killed. Philip Seymour Hoffman thought he got the jump on Ethan, but when his back is turned, Tom Cruise hits him with an armored car. Ethan grabs his wife, a live electrical wire, and his lucky rabbit's foot and gets the fuck out of China to head toward his honeymoon and happily ever after. Discuss.
I freaking love this movie.
I thought it was really good.
This is the best out
The
of the
last
three.
one was better, though.
Get out of here.
I like 2 better. I like this one better than 1, but not as much as 2.
Yeah, it goes 2, 3, then 1.
The best out of the 3 this week. Like story-wise, action-wise, it's just, I love it, dude. I love this movie.
I think you're correct. That it is the best of the 3, but I enjoyed 2 more.
Okay.
I feel the same way.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Twinsies.
Yeah.
It's just
So like, I know people.
this one was better structured, better put together.
Yeah.
Better. Okay, I'm just gonna ask this really quick. Who's the chick? Who's his wife?
Megan Moynihan?
So
Michelle Monaghan.
was it originally supposed to be Tandy Newton?
Yes.
Because at the end of 2, they fuck off together, and I'm really confused at the
Yeah, but that's
start
years.
of this one.
They banged
So-
for a little while, and then
So
she went off and did something
Tandy
else.
Newton they asked her to come back for this movie.
She was like, that guy's too fucking intense.
to reprise her role from movie 2, and Tandy Newton was like, I don't ever want to work with Tom Cruise again. And so like she turned it down, and then they just created a new character for Tom Cruise to get married to.
Yeah, I really enjoyed the relationship between them.
I did too.
And did you guys like catch that that's Aaron Paul? That's her brother.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's Jesse Pinkman. It took me a while. Bitch, yeah. It's like science, dude. Like, yeah, I totally got that. Like, after we initially get introduced to him at this house party that they're having, like an engagement party or whatever, and I didn't pick up on it but later on when he's on the phone with him, that's when I was like, oh shit, that's Jesse Pinkman.
Are you pissed that I'm here, bitch?
Sorry, man. You don't have to be mad that I'm here. I'm like, oh shit, that's Jesse Pinkman. That's so cool. Yeah, it was really cool to see him. But I don't know, dude. Like, there is not a single thing about this movie that I don't like. I love the premise. Yeah. I love the setup. I love the motivation. Philip Seymour Hoffman is freaking
He's such a bad guy.
He was phenomenal.
Yeah.
So freaking good. I miss this dude.
He is such a good actor.
Yeah.
He
like,
really is.
The way he plays this like distant, kind of broken bad guy who just like has no empathy whatsoever and will just slaughter you because he can. Like, he was intimidating as hell. Even when he was in prison by Ethan on the airplane, and he's just like, "What's your name? Who are you? Where are you coming from?" He's just like, he's grilling Ethan and like finding those weak spots.
Yeah.
He's like, "I'm gonna find your girlfriend and I'm gonna kill her right in front of you." I was just like, "Oh my god, this dude is such a savage."
So there's a convention here in Vegas called CinemaCon, where basically it's for theater owners, where the studios kind of like bring out like their sneak previews and try to get the theater owners excited about showing their movies. And one year I went to CinemaCon, and it was the year right before this movie came out. And I was in a exhibition hall where JJ Abrams kind of came out, and it was a big surprise because no one knew that he was there. And at the time, I was a big JJ Abrams fan, because just to give you guys some context to this, so this was JJ Abrams' first feature film as a director. He hadn't directed anything outside of TV before this, and like the idea that he was given like an $80 million or $125 million movie as his like first feature film with like, you know, this huge franchise that Paramount had with Tom Cruise, like for a first time director, that's just not done. But he was coming off the success of Alias. And this was like before he was revealed to be a complete hack. But he came out on stage, and I was like 3 rows away from him. I was just like looking up at him on stage. I was like, oh my God, this guy's so awesome. And he showed that clip of Tom Cruise interrogating Philip Seymour Hoffman on the airplane. And the clip ended where Ving Rhames is like, Ethan, no. And then like, you know, he backs off of killing him and pulls him back, and Philip Seymour Hoffman just goes like, good job, Ethan.
Yeah, like he knows his name now. Like, yeah, the tables have turned.
Yeah, and Philip Seymour Hoffman just owned this movie. Like he was so good in it. I just love the fact that, you know, your typical scene is the guy cracks and he starts like telling the good guy what he wants, even though the good guy had never had any intention in like actually hurting him. In this scene, like you get the sense that Ethan is going to like kill him, and Philip Seymour Hoffman just refuses to break. And it was a nice little twist on that. My one problem with this though is so like this movie was written by Alex Kurtzman and Roberta Orci. This was like originally Joe Carnahan, the guy who directed Boss Level and Narc, was supposed to be the director on this movie, and he worked on this movie for like 15 months, and eventually he quit because of creative differences with the studio, and that set this movie back a year. And Tom Cruise went and did War of the Worlds in the meantime. And when they came back, they chose JJ Abrams, who had just inked a deal with Paramount for movies. And he was coming off the success of Alias and stuff like that. And so like a lot of the Alias diehard fans, which was, you know, a spy movie, were like, oh, they finally got someone who gets spy movies to do a Mission Impossible. And this movie, I got to agree with Alex. Like, I feel like, even though like I feel like the first movie is a more iconic film, this is like a really good, solid movie, and kind of sets the stage for all the next, you know, couple of Mission Impossible movies to come. And, you know, you can kind of see like the potential of JJ Abrams as like a good director and a good storyteller in this movie. And it just goes downhill from here in terms of his career, in my opinion. It really does.
I think it's interesting that this was written by Alex Kurtzman, who is like just completely destroying Star Trek right now.
Well, it was also like a precursor because like after this movie, so like JJ Abrams did a movie with Spielberg called Super 8, and then he took over the Star Trek franchise with the same creative crew that did this movie.
Yeah, but I adore this movie. I think it might be my favorite Mission Impossible movie. I haven't seen some of the more recent ones lately. I have to go back and check them out again because I know the one with Jeremy Renner is really good too. But
Jeremy Renner was in a Mission Impossible movie?
Yeah, dude. He's like the main character for like at least two out of the
Isn't it
newer
called-
ones.
You're thinking of
Isn't
a
it called
Bourne
Bourne?
movie. Yeah, you're
No.
thinking of the Bourne Identity.
No, Renner's in Rogue Nation, I think.
The Bourne movies. Mission
Oh,
Impossible
you're
movies.
right. Yeah. Renner was Ethan Hunt's right-hand guy in that movie. And then Henry Cavill was in the latest one.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
I really need to watch these.
Those are so
I
good,
haven't
dude.
seen any of those movies.
I've only seen the first one from like before this week.
From 3 onwards, in my opinion, the Mission Impossible franchise really found its legs, and I think they're all super enjoyable from this point forward.
Yeah, I will definitely be just checking them out just to watch them.
I actually thought the fourth one was really boring. I didn't like the fourth
Which one was
very
the
much.
fourth one? Do you remember?
That was the one by Brad Bird where like they go into like Dubai and a bunch of other stuff.
Was it the one where he's hanging off the wall on the? Never mind, doesn't matter. Anyway, the other moment in this movie that I really, because you guys know me, anytime there's like a husband and wife dynamic where like in Bone Tomahawk, I identify with the farmer who goes off and tries to save his wife. When Ethan goes and he's like, I have to try and save my wife, and they're trying to plan out like, how are we gonna get the rabbit's foot? And they're like, well, we're gonna swing off this freaking. That whole process of him like, I don't care what I have to do, I'm probably gonna die doing it, but I have to do that. And they're like, okay, we're here for you.
What was the rabbit's foot?
Well,
It doesn't matter.
It was a chemical weapon.
This is the only example I can think of where JJ Abrams' mystery box actually works because like it was the rabbit's foot was just a MacGuffin.
Yeah.
Like it ultimately didn't matter, and they made it a point by the end of the movie to be like to tell you that, or it's like what was the rabbit's foot? And like
It doesn't
who
matter.
cares?
Shit, what's his name?
Tom Cruise.
No, the guy who always works with JJ Abrams, Simon Pegg.
Yes.
Simon Pegg's
Oh, yeah.
character. His explanation as to what he thinks the rabbit foot is all we really the only detail we really
The
get about it.
anti-god.
Yeah, he's like anytime I see some kind of a terrorist organization spend this much money on one thing, I immediately think it's the anti-god. It's the weapon to end all weapons. So that's kind of like the only hint that we get towards it, but it really doesn't matter what.
You know what's funny
rabbit's foot
is like Simon Pegg. So he was just kind of like his star was on the rise when JJ Abrams kind of cast him. Nobody really knew who he was. I think he had just done Shaun of the Dead.
Yeah, that seems
But
about right.
Ricky Gervais was supposed to be in that role, and
Wow.
he like turned it down for whatever reason. And so like once Ricky Gervais told JJ Abrams to pound sand, he was like, well, what about the Simon Pegg guy? And so like Simon Pegg's been in like every single Mission Impossible since then.
I don't think I could have dealt with Ricky
He always
in this
JJ
movie.
always has what's his face in his movies and cameos too.
Pegg.
Greg Gunberg.
Greg Gumberg.
Oh yeah,
Because I
he
noticed
was at the house
He
party
was at the house
beginning.
party at the beginning.
That's
yeah,
right.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there's actually like one shot where you can see Alex Kurtzman on the couch.
I don't want to talk about that. I don't like it, guys.
I gotta look
I
up.
don't want to give him any more kudos than I have to.
Talking about the action scenes, one of the really, really cool action scenes in this movie is when they go to rescue the agent who gets captured, and Ethan's like working with his
Terry
team.
Russell,
Yeah, he's got Vin Rames there with the freaking van. He's got the intel with the freaking automatic gun and stuff like that.
This team pretty much stays and put for the rest of the series, right?
Yeah, more or less.
Not really. No, Jonathan Rhys Meyers doesn't come back.
He's an
neither does
Australian guy,
Maggie
right?
Q. Well, I think he's British, but like, so like he's the helicopter pilot in this movie, and then Maggie Q is like the operations girl.
Simon Pegg and Ving Rhames are in all of them.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then they kind of alternate the other two people. But that scene, like, that's one of those lines, like you guys were talking about how like some of the cool, ridiculous lines in Mission Impossible 2. This one where their backs are against the wall. They've got these guys shooting at them. There's only one bad guy left. They're both out of ammo. The one chick's like, I'm out. How much you got? And he's like, I've got enough. And he pops out and freaking slow-mo shoots the dude and it hits him
bullet.
dead on. He's like, now I'm out. And he throws the magazine away and walks away. And I'm like, oh, that's so freaking badass.
Yeah, there were some interesting things with this. So like basically like while they're like doing like mission stuff, they're just talking about relationship problems, which was very like JJ Abrams at the time because like he'd done Felicity and stuff like that, and so like that was kind of like a fun like twist on things. They really struck a good balance between like the cerebral like heist stuff and spy stuff and the action. So like it was like a good mix of like the first movie and the second movie, in my opinion.
I agree. And I love that they kind of like detailed how the masks work finally in this movie. Like
that was cool.
That was really cool.
Yeah.
I love how they were literally making the mask for Philip Seymour Hoffman.
She had to do the whole little, I got to get as much of a 360 degree shot of his head with little special camera.
And they also showed how they do like the voice.
Yeah, the voice thing was really cool too. How they because in the second movie they have the voice strips, but they're like come out of nowhere. They're like, well, how does that thing work? And they never address it.
I wonder if that's real.
Or
if they just made it up.
I think
or if it's based on
If
something.
that was real, Val Kilmer would have been using that for the last 5 years.
Oh, that's true. That's true.
But they show him, he holds him down and he has to like read this card and he gets enough of a sample out of his voice to be able to.
I forgot about that part. That was wild.
And he's just in the middle of it.
What the fuck is
He's like, what the fuck are you
And
doing?
they say the goofiest shit.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, they have to get a wide enough sample of all this different
it's
syllables
like when you
and
get
stuff.
a new iPhone, right?
Uh-huh.
And you have to
You
read.
do the thumbprint.
You have to do the thumbprint, and you have to read the silly stuff so it does your voice print analysis for the phone, and same thing.
It's all real.
Yeah.
You know, my favorite part of this movie is when Ving Rhames comes up through like the manhole cover.
Oh yeah.
And at Philip Seymour Hoffman, played by Tom Cruise, and Maggie Keeler in like this like super fancy car. They look down at him and he's just like, "What's up?" And they're like, "Nothing.
Nothing. What's up with you?" But it's Philip Seymour Hoffman who's like playing Tom Cruise. It's a weird thing, but yeah.
Philip Seymour Hoffman playing Tom Cruise playing himself.
Yeah.
It was very strange.
It's very strange, but I loved it.
But I just like that. It was like, "Nothing. What's up with you?"
Nothing. What's up with you? Nothing. Cool.
I don't know what to really say about this movie other than I can't really add anything to it because it was a fun movie.
Did you guys? So,
Yeah,
you two, was it a first watch for you two?
I'm gonna say yes. I don't think so, but I don't remember the first time I watched
So
it.
were you taken in by the twist with Billy Crudup's character? Like, did you see him as the bad guy?
Huh?
The
Not
agent,
Lawrence
the
Fishburne.
IMF agent. I'm sorry, IMF, Impossible Mission Force, agent who was helping Ethan escape. He turns out to be the one who was.
No,
working.
I don't ever get
Yeah.
surprised by that kind of stuff. I think that was kind of a fun little twist.
I like that his
Yeah.
wife was the one who shot him.
I'd forgotten about him for a second.
That was cool.
Yeah.
Well, they were directing you towards it being Lawrence Fishburne, so
Yeah.
it was obviously not Lawrence Fishburne.
Yeah, they were. Yeah, I love Lawrence Fishburne in the movie too. He's like, "Well, chocolate makes you fat, and I eat my fair share," or whatever the hell he says. He's like, that's not fair either.
He's such a hard ass.
Yeah, he's so good in this movie.
Yeah, and the part in Shanghai where like they have to infiltrate the building to get the rabbit's foot. Thing I liked about that was that so you see them figure out how to get into the building, but then you never see what Tom Cruise has to do to actually get the rabbit's foot, but then you see his escape, and so like they just kind of glossed over like the actual heist and just showed like the entrance and the getaway.
Yeah,
it's kind of clever. I thought
I liked it. I like that he was like on his toes or on his heels the whole time. He runs out. He's like, "I gotta go right now," and he's like jumps out the window and like, "Oh shit." Like, and the other thing that they did really well in this movie was they put a freaking timer on everything.
Yeah.
Every time there was a situation happening, there was an end game where like we have to do this by this time, or we're all gonna die, or whatever. And it kept the momentum of this movie so freaking fast paced.
It kept it intense.
Yeah,
too.
Yeah,
really
I
intense.
was never bored.
Yeah.
And another good thing that they did in this movie was they actually added some like personal stakes to the mission. So like in the first movie, it's just like, Ethan Hunt is trying to clear his name. In the second movie, like he's trying to destroy the virus and save Tandy Newton. But in this one, it's like his wife. And like you can tell that like everything he's doing is to save his wife. And like he's got so much invested in his wife. And they opened the movie with like, Philip Seymour Hoffman threatening to kill Michelle Monaghan.
That 10-second countdown was intense.
Yeah. It was a great way to start the movie. And then like when we get to that scene later on in the movie, and he actually like shoots her, like for a minute there, you're kind of like,
You're like, holy shit!
Yeah.
Did that actually happen? and then they find out it's like, oh, like it was just like
it was the translator.
That
the
useless translator, which nobody cares
well,
about.
she was the head of his security at the Vatican, which is so like she failed because he got kidnapped. That bridge scene where like the drone is like shooting missiles and stuff, and Tom Cruise is getting like thrown against like cars, and then he has to go and get like the big gun and take down the drones while like the the helicopter crew is rescuing Philip Seymour Hoffman. Like that's probably the best scene in the movie.
It's pretty damn good. And I was talking about like the motivation of Tom Cruise having to like rescue his wife and stuff. That scene where he's tied to the chair and that 10-second countdown is happening, dude. Like we kind of joke about like, oh, he acted really well in that. Like you always make fun of us for that, dude. That shit was legit.
That was intense.
I'm gonna fucking kill you! Like he was freaking out.
Yeah.
It's like,
the way his voice like shuddered.
He literally goes through like every checklist he can think of in order to like turn the situation around, and nothing's working.
And he thinks that he can convince him. He's just like
do what you think is right.
Just do what's right.
That was his final straw, right? And then he's just like
the way they opened this movie with that. And just that super intense scene between Philip Seymour Hoffman and Cruise, it's just like it immediately made me buy in. And I'm like, wow.
And the freaking the nose explosion things, dude. When that chick was like, Ethan, thank you for helping me, and like her eyes like go in 2 different directions, dude.
Oh,
like what the fuck? It was so intense. I love this movie, man. This is definitely one of my.
It makes you wonder what the fuck happened to JJ Abrams. Like, why can't he make movies like this anymore?
I don't know. I don't understand what happened. Like, if maybe there was other influences that we don't know about.
I'm wondering how big of a role Tom Cruise had in keeping JJ Abrams like kind of focused on on like the story, because we know for a fact that Kurtzman, Orsi, and Abrams are all hacks.
As of their newest,
I think maybe that they were like young enough where like people could tell them their shit sucked, and so like. You know, they were able to be reined in, but for the most part, like this movie is very well done, and so like I'm wondering like what the fuck happened.
That's what when people were like, oh, JJ Abrams is a hack, like Katie says it all the time, and I'm like, yeah, but that Mission Impossible movie was dope. It's just like I don't know what happened to him, man. Like I mean, I enjoy his Trek movies for what they were. They were just action adventure movies based in the Trek universe. I don't hate those movies.
I don't either.
But I don't know what happens with him. I don't know what other things does he get a lot of shit for? Star Wars, I guess. Star Wars is the biggest thing.
The Cloverfield.
I liked Cloverfield. Did he do the first one, or he was just?
No, he was just producer.
Right? On okay. So yeah, it's just.
But he did do Super 8.
I don't remember that movie.
That movie.
Jude hates that movie.
Yeah.
It's a bad movie.
It's just bad.
I don't remember it.
Yeah.
It was an alien, right?
Kind of.
Okay. Anyway. I'm gonna say this is my 4-star movie for this week. I love this movie. I can watch it anytime. Philip Seymour Hoffman is freaking incredible in this movie, and this movie makes me miss him more than anything else. Like the way he can go from like Along Came Polly and be like this really goofy kind of funny comic relief character to in this movie being scary as shit.
Twister,
the suck zone. Like I freaking love that dude. I miss him, man. I wish I could see more.
Also, he
of
was
his
in
movies.
like the Hunger Games and Boogie Nights. Like he was a brilliant actor.
Yeah,
so good.
He's so versatile.
Yeah, we saw him in Almost Famous as well.
Oh yeah, yep.
And he had the flu in that movie. But he was able to act through it. Like that's how good of an actor he was.
Don't do drugs, kids.
Yeah,
drugs are bad.
I miss him, man. I miss his movies.
He was a talent.
Vader, what's your rating for this movie?
I'm gonna give it a 4.
Wow.
I'm sticking with you. This was, you know, it's like I said, I like 2 for different reasons. This movie was just a different kind of movie. I'm gonna give it a 4. It was super fun. It was well acted. You know, Hoffman stole the show for me as far as I'm concerned, and it was good. It was a good watch.
This movie is what made me want to see Hoffman as the Penguin.
Oh god,
in
that
like
would
a Batman
be great.
movie.
I never even thought about that.
Yeah, because there was like speculation that he was going to be cast. I think it might have been by Nolan or something. And I was like, in the third movie, they were going to do like Hoffman.
This movie makes me want to continue watching this series. I haven't watched anything past this one, I don't think. So
they're all pretty much in line. I think it's been a minute, so I can't really say, but I like all the Impossible movies. These things are a lot of fun. Jude, final thoughts. Give it a rating.
I loved Philip Seymour Hoffman in this. He's such a good bad guy. Like he's great in everything, but when he plays a bad guy, like look out.
Yeah.
It's so good. And I thought that they set up the relationship between Tom Cruise and Michelle Monaghan really well. I believed their relationship and I believed that their love story. And I thought that was really well done. And that I feel like that was important, and because that's like the impetus of what he's trying to like. It's his reason for doing everything that he does in this, and so that really needed to be believable. And I thought that was really well done. That being said, The second one is more enjoyable for me. But I will agree with you guys. This is a 4 out of 5 nose implants.
Okay.
Got a question.
Yeah.
Yes.
Tom Cruise's wife in this movie, does she carry on?
Yes.
Yes.
She does.
Oh,
okay.
neat.
Okay. Cool.
Okay. Yeah, that kind of makes me want to watch more too.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
But not in the way you think.
Dun dun dun.
Oh, God damn it. You spoiled it. She's a bad guy?
No, she's not a bad guy.
She's not a bad guy. Anyway,
Now you spoiled it.
Kadish, final thoughts. Give it a rating.
Again, every single movie this week was a mix of emotions for me, because this is a good movie. This is an enjoyable movie, but I hate the people who made it. I can't stand them. At the time when it came out, I was a big fan of JJ Abrams and these guys, but they've proven over the course of time to be terrible, horrible people in terms of like their mismanagement of beloved properties of mine. And I have a hard time reconciling that with this film. So I'm going to give it 3 stars out of 5. I can't give it anything more than that.
You love John Woo.
Yes.
His movie was terrible, and you hate JJ Abrams, but his movie was better.
Yes.
This is my favorite week ever.
You can see why I said I was so conflicted on this.
All right, everybody, that's it for this week. What's your favorite Mission Impossible movie? Comment below. Let us know. If you're not already, please subscribe. We really appreciate it. We're really, really close to that 5K marker, so help us out there. Vader, where can they find you on the socials?
You can find me on the social medias at MattVader74 on Twitter, Instagram, here on this channel on Saturday mornings. Saturday mornings? Yeah, Saturday mornings, 10 a.m. with Mr. Kadish over there. We'll be breaking down some Star Trek for the next few weeks. And that's that.
All right. Jude, where can they find you at?
You can find me at I am Jude Juju on Instagram and on TikTok. And you can find us on Discord at saltynerddiscord.com.
All right. Matthew Kadish, where can they find you at?
You can find me at Matthew Kadish, Kadish on Twitter. KadishBooks.com takes you to my Amazon page where you can check out my books. And I just want to let people know that we have a new feature on saltynerd.com where you can leave us a voicemail. There's a little red button with a microphone on it in the lower corner of the website, where if you click on that, you can actually like leave us a voicemail and let us know like your thoughts on our reviews or like whatever you want to tell us, and we can actually play it live on the show and respond to it.
If it's funny enough, we'll play it on the show.
Make us laugh. We'll play it on the show. We'll do a segment. We'll do a voicemail segment.
Yeah, we'll do something.
All right, everybody. I'm Alex, the Salty Nerd. You guys can catch me on Instagram. Head over to our Instagram. It's Salty Nerd Podcast on IG. We do a lot of fun things over there. I do clips and stuff from the movies, and it's more of my personal account, so I can share what I want. We share behind the scenes photos of me and Vader getting drunk and stuff like that too. So head over to the IG account and follow us there. All right, everybody. Have a great week. Thanks for joining us. Stay salty, my friends. Oh, and the secret word of the week is bubbles. So comment below if you've watched this far into the show. Comment bubbles on the YouTube channel, and that's the secret word, and we'll do something for you.
What?
We will.
Where did that come from?
Remember at the beginning, and I was like, and tell me
That's
the code word, remember? And this message will set the code word is bubbles. Bubbles.
Yeah, but the prize kind of falls through.
Yeah, there's no prize.
Buttons.
Are you making them?
Buttons for bubbles.
No.
Buttons for bubbles.
Hashtag buttons for bubbles.
Niet.
Send it to the internet.
It's not happening.